In a world with good watches, bad watches, and a whole lot of nit, how can a man survive? Insights, analysis, My Watches with Ben.
Welcome to My Watches with Ben, where I talk about watches that I collect and I also do score-based analysis. Today is score-based analysis. I'm analyzing simple dress watches, quality price range, $400 to $1,000. And yeah, this is the third video in the dress watch series. I have no idea how long this is going to go. There's almost 1,700 total watches. Today we're only covering 148. Again, the quality price range. I don't really know the best way to name these, but I'm naming this one quality. But it has brands like Hamilton, Bulova, Mido, Marie Lacroix, Tissot, Seiko. There's a lot of brands you've heard of, Movado. And what's really interesting in this price range is the ones that are the best are not necessarily from the big brands. There was a big surprise at the end in terms of the top 10. And speaking of the top 10, if you just want to know the top 10, please check out the links in the description. I'm going to cover 148 watches first. And the main chunk of the video is the results of the scoring system. And the scoring system, there's an entire video dedicated to that, so I won't bore you with it here. But essentially, I just take the specs of the watch and visual attributes, does it have a second hand, stuff like that, what's the contrast like, and it spits out this score, and it'll just, what is the most suitable for a dress watch? But then at the end, I take into consideration subjective elements, how masculine is the watch? No score could ever determine that, okay, the Versace is looking a little bit feminine over there. Hamilton is looking a lot more masculine. The Sooner is looking very masculine. You have to take those subjective elements into consideration at the end. But yeah, I don't need to give you guys a ton of backstory. We can just dive into the watches. I do have a couple slides though. Let's take a look. All right, so here's how the scores turned out for the watches in this video. Their scores can be plotted on a grading system, and that's how I like to think of it because it helps. The highest percentage of watches is in failing. I consider C- failing, 72 and lower. 37% of the watches in this video are failing. 36 are okay, meaning, if you wear it as a dress watch, it's not gonna be horrible. It's just not the best. And then 27% are in this good grade category. Watches that really work well for a suit and a tie. That's what a dress watch basically is a watch you can wear to formal events. And this price range, 400 to 1,000, it actually is a little bit worse than the last one we did. The affordable dress watch, more of them were passing. And a lot of this has to do with thickness, because once you start getting automatic movements, those watches get thicker, particularly in the $400 to $1,000 price range. They're not necessarily using ultra premium automatic or hand winding movements that are super thin. And so the watches are thicker overall, and that contributes to lower performance. On the cheaper end of the spectrum, you're better off with a quartz watch because they can get super thin. That's kind of the conclusion. Seiko's a prime example of this. Seiko dress watches that are quartz are so unbelievably thin and good. And then you get the automatics and pow, they're 13 millimeters thick. So yeah, Seiko's a prime example of this. The Seikos in this video do not perform nearly as well as the ones in that last video. I also wanted to show you this chart of the overall project. So far, we've just been in simple. We've done the budget price range under $200. We've done the affordable price range. Today is the quality price range. There'll be 3 more price ranges after this one for the simple dress watches. And somewhere in here soon, I've started scoring the moon phases. So that video is going to come out pretty soon in the next few weeks or so. There's 112 in there, and I'm working my way through. It's a very long process to put all the information in so that I can get these scores. But yeah, the moon phase 1 will be next. There's some beautiful moon phase watches. And I'm not going to do a video necessarily on every type. I'm going to combine some of these ones, like alternative format might be combined with wandering hour. It's a similar idea. It's just like a different presentation of time. Novelties will go in there too, I'm sure. Skeleton watches and tourbillons. Well, those could be different videos because look different they are here. Oh, one other thing is anytime I show a mock-up on my wrist, I have a 7¼ inch wrist. And somebody wrote in, a certain lug to lug is crazy. A 34 millimeter lug to lug is perfect for a rectangle watch. That's what he said. He had a wrist of 6 3/4. And so I just put this up so you can kind of see the difference. It's a subtle difference, I'll be honest. But, when you have a 6 3/4 wrist, it takes up a lot more space. there's over 4 millimeters difference in the surface area of the wrist. So that makes a lot of sense. I understand why your wrist size really does make a big difference on whether a watch is wearable or not. And another point on rectangle watches, this one, if you convert it to a circle, supposedly it has a 33 millimeter presence, but you look at it on the wrist and it seems more than that. So the rectangle watches are a little bit tricky to size. But I'll try to show mock-ups where I can so you can get an idea. Particularly in the higher scoring ones, I'll try to show mock-ups where I can. I think that's enough of a preamble. Let's dive into the watches. I'll give you the top 5 highest scoring ones and then do all the rest of them. And then at the end, the top 10. Let's start with number 5. In 5th place, we have the Movado Bold Evolution 2.0 34 millimeter. It's $550. It is indeed 34 millimeters across, only 7.4 thick. And that's due to the quartz movement. As I already alluded to, that makes them a lot thinner and therefore more suitable for wearing with a suit. Formal events, you typically have long sleeves, and that's why thickness is so much more important than with other watch types. It's looking very feminine. It's got this pink strap. That's kind of unfortunate. We do have to dip into ladies' watches to find ones that are the right size and shape. And speaking of size, let me show you what it looks like on the wrist. All right, here it is mocked up on my 7.25 inch wrist. And I swapped out the strap. You don't want the pink strap, most likely, if you're a man. The lug to lug is 39.3. So good lug to lug. 34 millimeter is totally fine. Right here, I have a 33 millimeter watch. And you can see it's suitable as a dress watch. When you're actually wearing a suit, a 33 millimeter is totally fine. 34 will be fine as well. When they get too big, I think it looks kind of weird. They've got a lot of different colors, and hopefully I'll show you. I mean, good grief, there's a lot of colors of this Movado. Very classic look. I love the little circle at the top. This particular one has diamonds in that circle. That looks really cool. Or maybe just crystals or something. Really nice pattern on the dial. There's no indexes, no second hand, no date. These are things that are good for a dress watch. And you do see that more in the ladies' ones. It's just very simple, very nice. It feels that philosophy of a dress watch, which is you're not counting seconds. It's leisure. You're doing something formal. It's more of an accessory than like a precision timepiece situation. Total score of 89. In 4th place is the Sona Nostalgia Paris. $485. Presence of 34.8 based on a 28 by 34 millimeter area. And the thickness is only 7 millimeters. This is one of those brands I had never heard of until I started doing this series. And they pretty much just make dress watches. They have all different kind of tanks. This one, the Paris, is just in white, but they have identical ones in like blue, green, maybe black. So they have some other colors of this if you like. But this is the traditional tank look. And I mean, they don't hide that their inspiration is the Cartier tank, but they go in a different direction. I really like the stepped case here. Makes it nice and masculine. White dials traditionally are preferred for dress watches. I don't know exactly why that is, but light dials are preferred. On my 7.25 inch wrist, it's got a lot of presence. Even though it says it's only like a 35 presence, if you think of this as a circle, it's a circle of equal area would be 34.8. But yeah, rectangles do wear a little bit larger than you'd think. But yeah, what was it? 34 by 28? So this gets a little closer to the truth, 35. But I really like these Soners. Wait, okay, so you make an O, so, but you say Soner. Yeah, I'm not great with the umlauts, but I'll do my best. Yeah, no brand strength on this one. Brand strength is from watchcharts.com, and they're not even tracking this brand. Total score of 89. 3rd place is the Versace Greca Fortuna. Really cool watch. $696, 35 across, 8.3 thick. There's a green one that looks so cool. There's even a white one, I believe. I forgot to put that on the card. I like the Medusa at the 12 o'clock. I like this Grecian snake thing they have. Really cool guilloche dial. And yes, I know they didn't use a Rose engine lathe. There's no way they did. But it's beautiful dial. It gets called guilloche even if it's stamped or whatever. These hands are really interesting. They're like serrated. It's a cool watch. The strap with the rivets makes it kind of feminine, unfortunately. But I think a man could pull it off. I don't know if I would personally, but I think you could. Minimal text, no date, no second. They're getting the elements that you want for a dress watch. And mocked up on my 7.25 inch wrist, it's totally suitable. 35 is a great size for a dress watch on a man. It works well on my wrist, so if your wrist is smaller, it'll work fine too. I think this is a great size. Again, these rivets do look feminine. I don't know why that is, but they do to me. If this is your style, go for it. It's a good dress watch. The gold is nice. I think it's even engraved on the side of the case. Very cool. Total score of 90. A-. Second place, getting the silver medal, is the Anderson Company AC2 Vulcan. And I put 37 here so we know what the dimensions are, because this has a feel of a 38.2. It's 37 here, left to right, 37 top to bottom, but it's not a square whatsoever. So it takes a little bit of wizardry to get to what the feel is, but it's got to feel like a 38. $522. Thickness of only 5.7. That is insane. Got a lot of other really cool colors. I think this is the ice blue. There might have been a gold one too. I can't remember totally. But yeah, some cool colors on this. Low contrast, minimal printing, no date, no second. Nice little crown, cool strap that comes with it. I think it looks very elegant. It actually looks really masculine too. I like these Dauphine hands. Are they Dauphine when they're not? Are they still Dauphine? I'm not totally clear. They have a nice little cap here so you don't see just a hole, like when they put a cap on the hand stack. Total score of 90. First place, what's it going to be? It's the Dennison ALD Ghost. $790, feel of 35.9, and thickness of 6 millimeters. I really like the mother of pearl dial. That looks really nice. They printed their name on the underside of the glass. That's really cool. The hands are interesting. It's got this nice shape to it, like a television set or something. Recessed crown. There's no printing on the dial at all. No hour indexes at all. I think that's a really cool thing to do with a dress watch, is just have it totally plain. Really like that. And especially if you have an interesting dial like this. And yeah, that presence is going to be plenty. It's definitely not a ladies watch, even though it's on that white strap. I would probably change it to a black strap, or maybe check out some other colors. They have some other stone dials, I believe. Really good looking stone dials. You know, a tiger's eye, those kinds of things. Looks really good with this watch. If you want to go traditional, this white one looks amazing too. Yeah, this is definitely a good one. And again, kind of an obscure brand. The only brand anyone's heard of is Movado in these top 5. And I guess Versace, but they're not really known for watches. So those were the top 5. Like I was saying in the intro, the big brands aren't here. There's no Seiko, there's no Orient, there's no Tissot, there's no Frederic Constant. Not in the top 5. It's kind of interesting how that worked out. But these are my top 5 highest scoring. Now we'll cover the rest of the 148 watches, starting with number 6. Sixth place is the Zelos Nova. $899, 37 across, 7 thick. Beautiful pattern here in the subdial, the small second subdial. Really beautiful dial here in the middle as well. Got standard Arabics, which is a penalty. Where is that penalty down here? Yeah, that definitely gets a penalty. It's better if you just have the batons and everything. I think it's a -4 penalty. It's pretty stiff. But even with all that, this one still gets a pretty high score. 37 is going to be more enjoyable if you're looking for, you know, a more modern size. If you don't feel comfortable going down to 35 or smaller, you know, 37's good. The strap is not very dressy though. You know, with these cords here, it'd be better if it was like a stamped leather strap, like an alligator strap. It's okay. It is also a little bit bright. And apparently they have a pink and a turquoise version as well. It is a hand winding watch. Swiss hand winding movement, $900. It's a cool one. I like Zelos. If you can ever find them in stock, it's a good watch brand. Total score of 87. Seventh place is the Balmain Elegance, $406, 33 millimeters across. It's a smaller one. Thickness of 5.4. I showed you that 33. It's not crazy. 33 is still a man's size. This was my grandpa's watch, so you can wear a 33, especially with a suit. It makes a little more sense when you're wearing a suit. It's got a mother of pearl dial, no second hand. Comes on a steel mesh bracelet. Those are nice because they have on-the-fly adjustment with them. You know, you have to take it all the way off and everything, but it's pretty easy to make minute adjustments with these mesh bracelets. It's got a cabochon crown. That gets a little bonus. There's a little jewel on the end of the crown. That looks nice. Most would probably consider this to be a lady's watch, but you can wear it as a man if you want to. If you're looking for traditional sized man's dress watches, you have to dip into the ladies' offerings. Total score of 87. Eighth place is the Soner Nostalgia Limited. $645, 35.1 presents, and it's 7 millimeters thick. And don't let that confuse you. 35 is plenty large enough. Again, the lug to lug is 40. So it's gonna take up some space on your wrist. To give you an idea, this Seiko has a 38.5 millimeter lug to lug. And it's plenty big. The Cerner is going to be even bigger because it's got a 40 millimeter lug to lug. Beautiful dial here. They've got the petite tapisserie. They've got these nice Romans. I think those make it look more formal. It makes it look masculine. Those angular numbers. It's just a good look. Again, the stepped case like the one we saw earlier. These guys do a good job. Nice blued hands. I really like what they've done here. They went in their own direction. It's not a direct copy of the tank. It's kind of their own thing. I like the thick lugs. That makes it more masculine too. This is an excellent watch. Not crazy expensive. I mean, $645 is a lot, but that's the price range we're in, $400 to $1,000. Yeah, I really like this one. Score of 86. Ninth place is the Movado Bold Evolution 2.0 Square. It's their rectangular version. It's not exactly a square. It's 26 by 28. So it's slightly rectangular. $495. Presence of 30.4, and then thickness of 6.9. And again, we have to think about that lug to lug, 34.8. Okay, it's smaller. The guy that commented said 34 lug to lug is ideal for all wrist sizes. I don't agree fully, but this is doable. I think it's functional. I don't think 34 is too small. It's just not the ideal either. You know, this Seiko tank, I think, is probably the ideal for my wrist size, and it's at 38.5. Yeah, no secondhand. You get the cool Movado circle at the top. I really do like that. And completely minimalist. There's no hour indexes at all, which is great for a dress watch. The text could have been lighter, though. This is a little bit much down here. Otherwise, I really like it. Total score of 86. In 10th place, another tank homage is the Second Hour Memoir. $401. Presence of 33 1/3 and thickness of 7.3 millimeters. The ice blue is really excellent. I have these colors here. They had some other colors in the past, and I think I have some pictures where you'll see those. But I think this is what they offer presently is a pink, gray, and this ice blue, which I have shown right here. Really nice dial. I call it guilloche. Again, there's no rose engine lathe, but it's the same effect. You know, you have this really nice pattern on the dial. The sub-seconds looks really cool here. It's actually similar to that MVMT watch that got first place in the budget price category. This one has a lot more style though. The case is really nice. I love how it's rounded. Having a few Arabics is really nice. Gives it a little more character. It's got kind of a sunburst on the dial. I mean, this is beautiful. I haven't been that excited about other second hour watches. They just don't really do it for me. But this one, I think this is probably the best one in their catalog. It's a really nice dress watch. It's a final score of 86. Good dress watch. All these top 10 will make it to the finalists. They will all be in the final runoff. You know, the 1 through 5 and the 6 through 10, those will all be in the final runoff. And then from here on out, there will be 15 more like wild cards or finalists, just ones I select based on if I really like them. Those will go to the finalists too. Let's go on to number 11. In 11th place, we have the Olivier Jonquet Galeen 7. I don't know if I said that right. It's $992, presence of 39 millimeters, and thickness of 8.4. Because yeah, it's like a 35 by 35 square. So that's bigger than a 35, absolutely. More like a 39. This one does have an automatic movement in it, and it's only 8.4 thick. So that is very impressive what they did there. Really like this circular pattern they have. It's kind of like Zen sand gardens. No text at all. I call it sterile dial. Just no text. That's really nice. Just smooth mirror case. They offer other versions of this that have like striped cases. Those are really cool too. Just a lot of style, a lot of character, lugless case design. It's a really cool one. Definitely a conversation piece. Black hands, which I love black hands on a light dial. Total score of 86. 12th place is the Lorisum LS06. $649. It has a feel of a 39.1, and the true dimensions are up here, but this is the feel of it. And thickness of 9.4. And it does look a lot like is it Audemars Piguet? What is that thing called? Well, here's the one it's homaging. But this one has a beautiful stone dial. It's got the small seconds there. I really like these applied indices. They look so nice. An oval is a great shape for a dress watch. Very classy, very elevated, refined. This one also has an automatic movement, but it's only 9.4 thick. That is awesome. I would love to see a Seiko or an Orient do something like that. Automatic movement with a small seconds. It's only 9.4 thick. That's amazing. And that's what you want with a dress watch. You want that refinement. And you can get it for only $650. The other stone dials are really beautiful. You know, the tiger's eye, the green one is that malachite. There's a purple that looks so beautiful. This one's a standout. Very minimal text. It just looks so good. And the cool thing about stone dials is that every dial is unique. That's something that's really pleasing. When you spend a lot of money on something, you can say, well, this is the only one that's just like this. So that's something really cool about stone dials, which are apparently the flavor of the moment. But this bow tie here signifies that this is one of the ones I've selected as a finalist. It will be in the final runoff. Total score of 85. 13th place is the Vario Versa, $428, presence of 33.6, thickness of 12. If you want the dimensions, here are the true dimensions down here. The 12 is very thick, but that's because there's two watches just stuck together. So each watch is only 6 millimeters thick. You've got to give them some credit. They made two really thin watches and sandwiched them together. It's like the Reverso, but the way you swap between the watches is totally different. It doesn't slide over and swing like the normal Reverso. You know, it spins the other way. It spins on its axis here. And one side has the dark mother of pearl dial. The other side has the white dial. That's what I've shown here on the scorecard. Now, they do make some other ones that are like red, green, and black or something. Those might have been priced differently. But yeah, this is the mother of pearl version. These are really cool. I mean, the Reverso is a cool idea. So this is their homage of it. Minimal text, no date, no second. Very classy. 12 is getting too thick, though. It does have a big penalty for that. For thickness and weight, this has a -3. The next watch actually has a +2 because the next watch is 7 millimeters thick instead of 12, and they're basically the same weight. So it's like a 5-point difference between a 12 millimeter and a 7 millimeter. It's an important thing for sure. So this one, it would score a lot higher if it was thinner, but I understand the technical limitations when you have two watches sandwiched together. Yeah, I like this one enough. It's going to be a finalist as well. Total score of 85. 14th place is a really interesting one. The Feynman Q. $556. Feel of like a 36. Thickness of 7 millimeters. Another beautiful stone dial. Cool small seconds with some symbols on it that are not Western. I'll just leave it at that. I'm sorry, I can't remember what these symbols are. Kind of looks Japanese, but hope I'm right about that. The hands are really cool. When they come together, they'll make a little diamond or something. That's cool. It is interesting to have like asymmetrical hands like this. You don't see that anywhere else. The shape of the case is extremely interesting. It's sort of like a firefighter seal or something. I'm sure there's a name for this type of shape, but I can't think of it. Sort of octagonal, sort of rounded, sort of square, all these things at the same time. Really neat case. There's another one later with the same case shape from a different brand. But I love that they went completely sterile. Nothing on the dial, well, except the small seconds. No indexes, no names. The strap looks really nice. This one's also a finalist, so it has a chance at the top 10 at the end. Total score of 84. 15th place is the Herbelin Art Deco. Price of $515, 37 millimeter presence, and thickness of 6. And yeah, the lug-to-lug might be the most valuable piece of information with rectangle watches. 42.9. So long lug-to-lug. It's going to be larger than my Seiko that I have on my wrist right here. Nice pattern on the dial. It says France at the bottom. That's pretty cool. The nice Roman numerals. I like that the case shape is a little bit round here. That just gives something a little different. Like these ribs here. That gives it some more character. And this is a cabochon crown, cabochon onion crown. A nice little touch, gives it some more personality, makes it a little more unique. Yeah, this one's really great too. So it will be one of the finalists. Total score of 84. 16th place is the Kuoe Royal Smith 90-006. $812, 35 across, 10 thick. They have a lot of different options for dial colors, case material. I think all of them have these loomed indexes. I don't know why there's loom on it. Score higher if it didn't have the loom. For a dress watch, you want clean. You don't need the loom. You're not Jack Ryan. It's a cool watch, though. It's probably their most expensive watch. I think every time I hit the table, there's a loud bump. Oh, yeah, there sure is. Yeah, you guys, I'm working on making the audio sound a lot better. So I will do my best. There's no way I could have the microphone that close because I just blow it out constantly. It's This one does have a central seconds, which is not ideal. There's a little penalty there for that. Better than the ticking seconds. This is an automatic, and it's only 10 millimeters thick. That's great to see. Once it score higher, that'll be the case. They'll be thinner and stuff. I really do like the pattern on the dial. There's something charming about Kuoe watches. Total score of 84. 17th place is the Jack Mason Elam. $799, 38 millimeters across, 9 thick. The dial is really pleasing. It's kind of this tan, but it looks gold in certain lights. So I don't know what they did there. I'm calling it a linen dial, although I don't think it's made of any fabric or anything. It's got a linen pattern on it. Got the Lone Star State colors, red, white, and blue, baby. It's a Texas company. Could do without the date window. I like everything else about it, though. Well, maybe the central seconds, too. I'd take off the second and the date. It's a handsome watch. And it's a hand-winding Swiss movement watch. So that's really nice. Total score of 84. 18th place is the Hamilton Bolton, the most famous watch that we've seen so far in the video. When you think of dress watches between $400 and $1,000, Hamilton Bolton is a big player. And here it is, $845, presence of 33.2, thickness only 7.8. Excellent. And yeah, to illustrate, the lug to lug on this Bolton is almost 42 millimeters. This one's 38.5 on my wrist. So you imagine a 42, adding 3.5 more millimeters on there. It's going to have plenty of wrist presence. The left to right, yes, is only 27 millimeters on this Hamilton. But that really doesn't matter with a rectangle watch, because a lot of times the watch is going to be kind of under your sleeve anyway. It's just going to have a little bit poking out. And that's one of the benefits to a rectangle watch, is that, you know, when they're smaller left to right, you can just have it peek out a little bit and you can still see all the time. I think that's one of the reasons rectangle watches are so desired for dress watches. But yeah, this watch has so much character to it, so much personality. The numbers are really interesting. I really like the case shape here, the rounded edges. It's just very interesting. The melted case shape. They've got this interesting crown. I did give it a medium crown penalty. It's kind of large for a dress watch. They could have just sliced off this other one, but it gives it more character. Gives a little thing for your thumbnail to grab onto if you're trying to pop the crown. It's a Swiss watch brand. Hamilton has a ton of brand strength here. 9 out of 10. Watchcharts.com. It's one of the higher brands. It's an excellent offering, and therefore it will be one of the finalists. Total score of 83. 19th place, a watch from Bulova. Bulova in the past, other videos I've done, Bulova hasn't done so well, but this one does well. The Bulova Frank Sinatra My Way, $506, presence of 36.4, bigger than that Bolton, a lot bigger, 46 lug to lug. Thickness of 12, so it's ridiculously thick for like no reason, because it's a 30-meter water resistance. So I don't know why it's so thick. It's perplexing. That's a major downside to this watch. It looks very classy. It's really cool to have Sinatra's signature on there, like the small second with the little square around it. They have the thin railroad track around the edge. That's really nice, you know, Cartier inspired. Yeah, the lug to lug is excessively long due to, you know, they could have put the lugs right here, but instead they have this extra little piece. It does make it more masculine. It has this boxy shape. It's not going to be small by any means. I think I have some pictures of it on people's wrists, and you'll see it's quite large. It looks almost absurdly large on some people's wrists, and thick as well. So keep that in mind if you like this one. I would have liked to see a gold cap on the hands, though. The silver cap is a little bit weird. Yeah, this silver cap doesn't look that great. Total score of 83 is another Herbelin, the Herbelin 17468, $480, 33 millimeter presence, and thickness of 6.3. Very short lug to lug. I mean, the guy that liked the 34 millimeter lug to lug, here you go. This Herbelin will be great for you. Nice pattern. Yeah, Herbelin is another one of these brands that does a lot of tanky watches. This one's nice. It's one of the smaller ones, though. Cabochon onion crown, nice black hands, made in France. All that is appealing to me. I like that. Nice strap, nice wide strap. Manly width of a strap. Might be a 22 millimeter. A lot of dress watches have narrow straps. Yeah, I think this one is an 18 millimeter. You know, it's common to see thinner straps on dress watches. Total score of 83. 21st place is the Zentier Reverence. $549, 38 across, 9 millimeters thick. It was hard to find pictures of this. I don't think I have very many pictures. I like the Roman numerals. Applied Roman numerals. That's very nice. I think that looks a little better than printed. Just looks very classy. This dark blue here. Interesting flared lugs. Nice suede strap. Apparently it's a hand winding movement. So that's really nice. Total score of 83. 22nd place is the Movado Bold Evolution 2.0 40 millimeter. And there are probably more colors. I think these are all the ones I could find on the Movado website. They've come out with so many iterations of this watch. The black one's really interesting. Normally black PVD is not desirable on a dress watch, but I think this would work really well with a tuxedo. I think it would look really classy. Just all black. It's a pretty cool look. It is on the larger size though. It's starting to get a little too large for a dress watch. 40 millimeters is pushing it. We'll see larger as we keep going though. It's more modern sizing. And yeah, the ladies' version of this scores better. The 34 millimeter scores better. 34 is the right size. The 34 millimeter does look more feminine, just the design of it. This is their more masculine version. It's just also kind of excessively large. Total score of 83. 23rd place, another big brand. We're going to start to see the bigger brands now. The Marie Lacroix 1975 quartz. $750, 39 across, and 9 thick. And what so many of these bigger brands do is they have the ticking quartz central seconds, and they have that unsightly date window. That's not as good for a dress watch. So the bigger brands, they get a boost with this brand strength part of it, but they also are majorly held back by ticking quartz second and date window. I would love to see this watch without those two things. That would be fantastic. And maybe a little smaller too. A nice 36, that would be lovely. But if you really like Marie Lacroix, here you go. It's a suitable dress watch. I'm saying it's a good dress watch. I think it will look great with your suit, great with your tuxedo. Still a good grade. Score of 83. 24th place is the Certina DS1. $789, 38 across, 10.3 thick. I think this is our first watch that has a deployant clasp on the leather strap. Deployant clasps are really nice on a dress watch. I'm trying to see if I have one right here with one. I do not. But yeah, deployant clasps are nice. When I wear the deployant clasp, I do feel it on the inside of the wrist. It's a little bit uncomfortable because it's more bulky than a pin buckle. Yeah, these Certinas are nice. Very similar to the Marie Lacroix. It'll be similar to the next one as well. This one does have an automatic Swiss movement inside. So that's pretty nice. Total score of 83. 25th place, another Swatch Group watch, is the Tissot Classic Dream. $550. It's 40 millimeter and it's 10.2 thick. It's got that Powermatic 80, just like the last one we saw. It's got the ticking. Oh, it's got a sweep seconds because it's a automatic movement. The gold looks really nice with the kind of tan or champagne dial. It's not quite champagne, but it's kind of a tan. I like the cone crown. The date, I would love for that to be gone, personally. Minute track is a little bit prominent. I didn't give it the prominent minute track penalty, but perhaps I should have because these are very dark. But it's a suitable dress watch, and I've chosen it as a finalist. So we'll see how it does in the end. Total score of 82. Another big brand in 26th place is the Frédéric Constant Classic Quartz. $895, 40 millimeters left to right, and thickness of 8.6. It's the quartz one, and they took the second off. Thank you, guys. I'm really glad you took the second off. This is high contrast, though. That's where it's getting a penalty. I should have put the silver one up, or maybe the white one has blue hands, so that still has high contrast. I think I have some pictures of some older versions of this, but in their current catalog, I think high contrast is the only way you can go with this particular watch. Really high brand strength, looking pretty elegant. Brown strap, you're gonna have to pair that. So if you're wearing a gray suit, I guess you have a brown belt and brown shoes. If you're wearing this Frédéric Constant with the brown strap, or you could just disregard fashion. That's a possibility too. I don't know how rigid those rules are with the match the belt to the watch thing. That's what I've been told, is match your leathers. Another good one, these all look kind of similar. The Certina, the Tissot, the Frédéric Constant, Marie Lacroix, all looking very similar. Clearly people like this kind of watch. You can wear it every day. It's not super formal, but you can also use it for formal events. So it's kind of a good all-rounder. Score of 82. 27th place is the Merci LMM01 dress. Their dress watch version. $514, 38 across, 9.6 thick. They have drilled lugs for some reason, minimal printing, thin railroad track around the outside. The hands are looking very plain though. I think they could have spiced it up a little bit more with the hands. And obviously I'm not a fan of the central seconds on a dress watch, but there it is. This is a hand winding watch, so that's nice. And I believe Merci is made in France. That would make sense, right? Total score of 82. 28th place is the Tourbillon Inspiration, $755, 40 millimeters across, and 8.6. Oh, it's made in France, so maybe it's the Inspiration or something like that. I don't know how they would say that. We don't need 60 and 30 here for this small seconds thing. That is needlessly large and in your face. It shows a sector dial. It's a neat one. Very thin lugs. Total score of 82. 29th place is the Marie Lacroix Fiaba, $950. Presence of only 28.7 millimeters. Thickness of 6.5. It's a small one. It's a really small one. It's getting penalized for being so small. That's majorly penalized. It's on the smaller side for most men. So keep that in mind. This is one of the smaller ones. Do I have a mock-up? Yeah, I don't have a mock-up for this one. Sorry about that. Will be one of the finalists. Score of 81. 30th place, the Beaufort Permian Rift. $519, 38 across, 8.9 thick. Stunning dial. I don't know what stone this is, but it's a really cool stone dial. It's got one of these automatic movements with the small seconds here at the 730. Very subtle, very tastefully done. And again, these stone dials will all be unique. The blue and the red look really cool too. They're a little bit bright for dress watches. Typically you want your dress watch to be more muted colors. There's a case to be made for bright colors too, depending on what you're wearing. As with all things, a black or white dial is just going to be more versatile than a bright colored dial. Lugs are very strange on this. Extremely large lugs, 45 millimeter lug to lug. That's wild. And they're so thin. That's the other weird thing about this. A little bit unusual. Total score of 81. Another big brand in 31st place is the Mito Belluna Royal Gent. $950, 41.8 across, 10.1 thick. Yeah, so it's a 42. 42 is too big for a dress watch. That's kind of its biggest penalties here. Well, and the sweep second and dates. Those are the biggest penalties on the scorecard. I really love how this thing looks. It's just going to be really big is the main problem. Stunning dial. I really like the gray mixed with the rose gold. It's a good combination. It's a little bit different. They're fairly restrained with their text as well. There's just 3 lines of text. Total score of 81. In 32nd place, it's the Toussaint. Toussaint. You do O and go Toussaint vintage. Wait, this may not be German. What does it say here? Okay, it says Swiss made. I don't know how Swiss pronounce their umlauts. Toussaint vintage. We'll just go with that. $999, squeaking into this price range. Feel of like a 37.4 and thickness of 8.7. This one is just a straight oval, and that's really cool. You don't see oval watches like this. A lugless design, angled numbers are so cool. I think they call this one the espresso version. I did find pictures of a black one, but I don't know if that's currently available. They didn't need to say super vintage, but they did anyway. The crown is really interesting. I mean, there's just tons of character with this watch. If you like a lot of character, well, this thing is just exuding character from every direction. It's a nice hand-winding movement. It's a really cool one. And yeah, here are the dimensions, 34 this way, 40.5 the other way. Total score of 80. 33rd place is the Tourbillon Classic 12248. $490, 38 millimeters, 6.6 millimeters thick. It's looking pretty plain, which is not the worst thing for a dress watch. A plain watch will not steer you wrong. Unfortunately, ticking second hand and date. But it is nicer to have the date at the 6 o'clock. They bordered it in gold, and it's a circular date cutout. So that does look pretty nice. It's probably the least offensive way to present a date complication, especially with a white dial and white date. It could be a lot worse. Got the clockmaker's Roman 4 for balance with the 8 over here. Total score of 80. 34th place. One of the watches that did really well in my original field watch video, at least the version that has the Arabic numerals. It's the Zodiac Olympos. $995, 37 millimeters here, I believe, and 10 millimeters thick. And yeah, since it's not a circle, it's not a full circle, the case material ends up being similar to just a 37. So I didn't do any special magic here. It's just still a 37. The dial is really cool. They have a sector thing going on. It's a little bit hard to see on this green one, but you can see it clear in other watches. The full gold one is definitely the way to go for dress watch, but I can't find it available anywhere right now. The only one I see available for purchase is the green one. but they did have some other colors of this in the past, and maybe they will in the future. The manta ray case shape is so cool. It's really nice. You're never going to find another manta ray case. Zodiac's the only one who does it. There's something vintage about it, and there's still something fresh due to this case. It's a neat one with a lot of character. Total score of 80. 35th place, the last good grade watch is the Furl Sennen Auto. $439, 40.8 across, getting on the big side. Thickness of 10.4 millimeters. Yeah, that lug to lug, 48 lug to lug. Getting a little too large for a dress watch. Oh, I forgot to mention, yeah, my daughter made me this heart back here. So for Valentine's Day, I just had the heart up. I don't keep that thing up year round. The hands are absurdly small, like needle-sized hands here. And then you only get indexes at the quadrants. The text is very small. The overall impression is just kind of unbalanced, feels off. You know, the lettering is like too small. It's just, there's all this white with nothing interesting happening. Maybe the dial is enamel or something like that. You know, I like minimal, but there's something about this. It's like, it's just off balance, like I said. I do like the onion crown though. Total score of 80. All right, the first of just the okay grade dress watches is the Bulova Tony Bennett We Are All Here. It's $420. Presence of 38.5. It's not a small watch. Thickness of 7 millimeters. And yeah, I mean, the main reason this isn't a good grade watch is the bracelet. Jubilee bracelet, no extension. It's a pretty large penalty. Place it with a leather strap with a pin buckle, you get it up to an 84. So, you know, it has the ability to be a good grade dress watch. On the bracelet, I think it's just okay. Yeah, to illustrate the difference, you know, you see dress watch on leather, and that fits really well with the suit. But then you do the bracelet, and it's just a little bit less formal. That's all it is. The leather makes it more formal, and dress watches are for formal. And here's that Bulova mocked up on my wrist. And yeah, it's not crazy huge. Even though it has a 43 millimeter lug to lug, it's not crazy huge on my 7¼ wrist. And I think it'll look a lot dressier if you just swap it to a leather strap. Just have normal spring bars here. Very classy. I really like the dial here. It's very pleasing. Unfortunately, you do have the ticking seconds. And that's something you have to check because pictures don't betray that. But quartz plus central seconds equals ticking seconds, which is not great. Some people are fine with it though. This is a really nice one. And I've chosen it as a finalist. Total score 79. 37th place, the Bruno Sudenli Nabucco. $699. 38 millimeters across, 7.1 thick. And I think they make a super tiny one of these for women that doesn't have the date or the central seconds. It's too bad they couldn't do that for the men. I would have liked that a lot. A lot of character here, very long Roman numerals with the sans serif. You know, most of the time Roman numerals have the serifs on the top and bottom. The gold hands are really cool. There's something special about gold hands with black text. I just think it looks really nice. They have a little rivet on the strap. BS. That's right. So you can have a BS strap if you want. I've chosen this as one of the finalists. Total score of 79. 38th place is the Belvans Heritage, 38 millimeter. Costs $846. Feel is more like a 42, and the thickness is 11. And I say that because it's not a circle, and it's got all this extra case material up here. So it's going to be a large wearing watch. The dial looks so cool. I mean, the whole thing looks really cool. I just would like if they shrank the entire thing. Male strap attachment here. That's kind of unusual. The case is actually made of titanium, so that's really nice. That helps lower the weight. I'm estimating 66 grams only for this watch, even with its large size. The color is really nice. I like that a lot. Very pleasing watch, just probably a little too big. Total score of 79. 39th place is the Nevada Grenchen Antarctic Spider. $945, 38 across, 11.1 thick. And the Spider is with these cool indexes here. It kind of looks like a spider. 8 little legs. That's a really cool thing to do. Got this unsightly Fotina loom, but it does add to the character. So I understand why they have that. Cyclops is magnifying a lot. Very high magnification Cyclops here. There's something special about a silver sunburst dial. It just looks really elegant. I really like that. They put the text over here at the 9 o'clock. You know, it's just kind of a quirky watch. The strap does not look formal whatsoever though. So you probably want to change the strap if you're intending to wear this with a tuxedo or something. This is a cool one. Almost up to a good grade, just not quite. Total score of 79. 40th place, the first Seiko. The Seiko Presage SPB 521J1. This might be a JDM only. It's a 36 millimeter. That's awesome. $950. 12.5 thick. That's just what you get with Seikos. You know, if you want a Seiko, it's going to be thick, unless you go with a quartz Seiko, and then you can get 7 millimeters. But otherwise, you know, if you're getting an auto, it's going to be thick. So yeah, this is the highest scoring Seiko, only downhill after this one for the Seiko. You know, all those cocktail times that are just, they're thick watches. The 36 is nice though. And yeah, I think this is technically ice blue. That's why there's a blue here instead of a gray. I think it's an ice blue dial. Very pale though. So it's almost just a silver. It's a beautiful watch. I don't want to dog on it. I should have given it a medium crown though. That crown is kind of big. If you're really a fan of Seiko, this is the best dress watch in this price range. And therefore, I have chosen it as a finalist. I wanted to give Seiko a chance. And yeah, here's that Seiko mocked up on my 7¼ inch wrist. I swapped it off the bracelet so you could see what it would look like on leather. That looks very formal. Totally suitable for formal events. Nice 36 millimeter size. Like I said, it's too thick, but otherwise really nice. And of course, if you do swap it off the Jubilee, you get 5 more points. You get up to a 83. So it's a good grade watch on a leather strap. Total score 78. 41st place, another of these weird shaped watches like the Feynman. It's the Farasute Retro 2824. It is indeed 38 left to right, 38 top to bottom. $441 for Chinese watch off of AliExpress. Feel of 40.5 and thickness of 10 millimeters. The dial is gorgeous. I mean, that's probably why you're paying all this money, I guess, in the cool case shape. The dial looks amazing. It's not just the product shot. I think I have one picture from a customer, and you can see the dial looks just like this in other light. So I don't know how they did this, but it looks amazing. Unfortunately, it does have the sweep seconds, no brand strength whatsoever. Those are some of the penalties. It looks like they have screw bars for the lugs. And then the strap is who knows what here. Strap looks super weird. Total score of 78. 42nd place is the Tissot Gentleman. $875, 40 millimeters across, 11.5 thick. Yeah, the thickness is unfortunate. If you don't mind the thickness, you know, Tissot Gentleman is a nice watch. But it's got lume on the hands and the indexes. They don't need that. It's got the cool sector. It's a very pleasing case. Really high polished bezel here. Looks nice. It's sort of a dressy sport watch. It's more on the sport watch side of things, especially with the 100 meters water resistance. I'm sure that contributes to the thickness. I know people are fond of the Gentleman, and I'm saying it gets 42nd place. Total score of 78. 43rd place is the Sooner Momentum Hoover. $470, 40.3 millimeter presence, and 10 millimeters thick. It's a very chunky version. Their other ones didn't look as chunky because they had kind of a step case, but when it's just flat on the sides here, really looks chunky. This one kind of has a weird dial situation. You know, really thick index bars at the quadrants and then thinner ones in the other spots. It feels unbalanced. It feels empty. I would go with one of their other ones, personally. I think this is the least good looking one. And it just scores the lowest based on its characteristics. I'm sure the 10 millimeters is part of it. I think those other ones were thinner. The crown is a little bit too big. But this is a cool brand. I definitely like what they're doing. Total score of 78. 44th place, the Orient Star RKAU 0001S, $660, 38.7 across, 12.5 millimeters thick. Yeah, I mean, it seems like all the Japanese automatic watches are just chunkosaurus. You know, 12.5. It's a thick watch. I like that they have the power reserve. That's really cool. I don't think that's scored on here anywhere. With power reserve, I just, you know, looking at the full population of dress watches, there aren't enough of these that have power reserves to like separate them out into their own thing. And I don't really think it deserves a penalty or a bonus. So it's just not in the scoring system because, you know, there's a downside in that it's more stuff on the dial, but then there's the upside that it's really cool to see the power reserve. So it kind of all comes out in the wash. Really nice Roman numerals. When I looked up pictures of this watch, it's beautiful. In natural light, it just looks stunning. Looks even better than the product image. So it's a good looker. The Breguet hands, it's just a little too thick, and that's why it's not a good grade watch. It's losing a lot of points here with the thickness. Total score of 78. 45th place is the Makina Gabriel 1. $725, 40 across, 11.9 thick. Like a lot of these watches that are just okay grades, the size is the reason they're not getting a higher score. There's a lot of printing on the dial. It's kind of excessive. I don't think I penalized it for that, but perhaps I should have. The hands are really striking, just bright blue. Clearly not heat treated, just like we're gonna have really bright blue hands. And so that's what they decided. And I think it looks cool. I like how they have the silver and the white on the dial. It's kind of a tuxedo look, but instead of black and silver, they have white and silver. So it's an interesting twist. Very high polish bezel. Interesting wire lugs here. That's pretty cool. And apparently this has actual alligator leather. That's not super common. Most of these are stamped leather. Apparently this one is actual alligator. Or crocodile. I didn't differentiate between the two. It's one of the two. Total score of 78. In 46th place is the Vapau Veli 1950. $892, 38 millimeters across, 9.7 thick. Cool looking dial, very minimal text. Kind of an interesting A they have here. No date or anything, but they do have that sweeping seconds. They do have loom on the hands. Not thrilled about that. It's a hand winding movement, not very thick. Total score 78. 47th place is the Makina Uriel 6. $750, 38 millimeters across, 11.1 thick. I think this is the first bronze one. Is it on here? Where's bronze? Yeah, here it is. Bronze or brass case. And it's brushed also. I guess you can have a bronze dress watch. I don't think it's quite the right aesthetic. Gold PVD would be better. But, you know, it's looking a little bit chunkier, more utilitarian. It's okay. It can work as a dress watch. Score of 78. 48th place is the Von Doren Runda. $407, 39 millimeters across, 10.7 thick. And the Von Doren Runda was one of those ones that was in the Gotta Watch series. And I said, you know, it's really more of a dress watch than a Gotta Watch. And it's doing okay as a dress watch. I really like this one. There's something about it that just really pleases me. I would prefer if the hands were solid, if they didn't have loom in them. If they were just polished hands, that'd be nicer. They offer this in a lot of colors. I really like this one, so it's going to be one of the finalists. Total score of 77. 49th place is the Lip General de Gaulle. $523, 35 left to right, 12 thick. I suppose the feel is a little bit larger. There's some more case material up here. Probably should have done feel, and maybe it'd be like a 36 and a half, something like that. It's not going to be a huge watch by any means. The black indexes are really distinctive. I like that. There's also something really enjoyable about a silver dial and a gold case. I don't know what it is about that combo, but I really like it. I would prefer no loom on the hands. But this one's a really cool one. I really like the Lip brand. They just make really cool watches. So this will be a finalist as well. Total score of 77. 50th place, the ZenoWatch Basel Retro Due Winder. $687, 34 across, 10.4 millimeters thick. It's got an acrylic crystal. That's nice. I really do enjoy that. Don't see it very often. It's neat that they have little white tips to their hands. Got an airplane on it. Nice small second. Pretty small, 34 millimeters. You get that hand winding Swiss movement. It's a neat one. Really interesting lugs here. Total score 77. 51st place, another BS, the Bruno Sunli Murano. $969, 40 across, 10.5 thick. Yes, the silver dial with the gold case. It looks really nice. And this is a darker silver, more of a gunmetal or something. It looks really good. Really classy. Unfortunately, this is a quartz, so you have a ticking quartz second. Be better to just pull that second off. Pretty one, suitable dress watch. Score 77. 52nd place, the Tissot. So we already had the Tissot Classic Dream and the Tissot Gentleman. I guess is the next one is the Tissot Le Loc. $700, 39.3 across. Like the other Tissots, it's that modern sizing that people like. Thickness of 9.8. Beautiful dial. It's nice to see the Roman numerals. We don't need the branding here. Take that thing off. You know, when you buy it, you know it's a Powermatic 80. You don't need it on the dial. It's my opinion. I like the hands. These leaf hands are really pleasing. It's a nice gray color, not full black. It looks good. I've said before, a little bit of subtlety just brings something extra to the table. You don't have to do full black, full white. You can do off-white. You can do a little bit of gray here and there. Pretty watch, suitable dress watch, score of 77. 53rd place is the Vario Empire Art Nouveau. Or is it Empire? I don't know. $888, 38 across, 11 millimeters thick. Very retro looking. It's a Art Nouveau. Yeah, I'm not up on my periods of history, but I think that was a style that was prevalent at some point in the past. The stamped gold dial here looks really nice. A lot of character here. The hands are really cool. That minute hand is nice. It does look like everything is slightly askew. Like the 9 is lower than the 3 when you look across. Something weird with that dial. I don't think they got it on fully straight. It's a hand winding watch. Nice onion crown. Total score is 77. 54th place, the Dressy Smiths. The Smiths PRS 35. It's 531 bucks. It's 38 millimeters across, not 35. At 10.4 thick. Kind of like that it says Great Britain. It's cool to know your watch comes from there. But you miss out on the 6. You know, they had to skip the 6. I suppose that's all right. On this guy's wrist, it's overhanging. I mean, if he shifted the whole thing down a little bit. That's the trouble with when you're trying to take pictures, the watch will shift over and stuff. It's just how watches are, but it does look kind of large for this guy. Definitely large for a dress watch on this particular guy's wrist. And this is why I encourage people to go smaller, because then it won't look as goofy. It's a suitable dress watch, score 77. 55th place is that Tissot PRX Powermatic 80. $775. Feel of a 43, even though it's 40 left to right, and 10.9 millimeters thick. There's a lot of extra case material over here that gives it a larger presence than a 40. And that's one reason why the Tissot 35s don't feel crazy when people wear them. On Tissot's website, the only one I could find with a leather strap was this blue one. You know, and you can get other aftermarket leather straps for Tissot PRXs. You don't have to get the leather strap from Tissot. You can go for the gold one or whatever and get an aftermarket leather strap. You can do that. But out of the box from Tissot, this is the only model that has the leather, to my knowledge. And that's why it's the highest scoring one, because the bracelet is a big downside on a dress watch. It's just not the dress watch look, it's a sports watch look. And Tissot PRX is a sports watch, but I think you can use it as a dress watch as well, particularly if you have this leather strap. I've wanted one of these for a while. It's a very cool watch. The thing that's held me back is the price. It is kind of a lot, but you do get the nice Swiss movement with the 80 hours power reserve. Tissot is a really strong brand, 10 out of 10. They move a lot of watches, and this is probably their most famous one right now. They inspired a ton of imitators. So it was a good job by Tissot, and it's a suitable dress watch in my opinion. Total score 77. All right, in 56th place, a very weird one, the Vario Futurist 39 millimeter, 648 bucks, 42 millimeters feel. It's a 39 left to right, 42 millimeter feel, and 10 millimeters thick. Even with this crazy crystal, they've got this geometric crystal on here. That is going to be so cool. It's just going to be fun to have that interesting crystal shape. The case is engraved too. That's really neat. Yeah, I put that down here, engraved case. 12 o'clock crown. It's got a ton of character. Minimal dial text, no date or anything. I like it, and they've got a few different colors. Total score is 77. 57th place, the Alexander Sophisticate A911. 800 bucks, 40 millimeters left to right, thickness of 10 millimeters. It's a plain watch. I don't know why it has this weird symbol here. It's almost like a radiation symbol or something. But yeah, I can see that above their logo as well. That's all right. I don't care for the black though. I would have preferred if this was gold or even silver or something, but the black just stands out in an unpleasant way to my eye. It is a quartz movement, so you have that annoying ticking second hand. Not the end of the world. Total score 77. 58th place is the Zeno Watch Basel Bauhaus Winder MIDI. And is that supposed to be mini? Maybe it's mini. 771 bucks. 32, because it's a mini. It's a tiny watch. 32 millimeters left to right. Thickness of 8 millimeters. And I have a 32 I can model for you. This is a 32 millimeter. I think it looks okay. I think it looks appropriate. I would absolutely wear a 32. I do wear a 32. I wear this watch. Grandpa's old watch. The crown is strangely large for this, but it is a hand winding watch, so you will appreciate that when you're actually winding it up. Very clean, super minimal. They call it Bauhaus. Yeah, it's nice. Lugs help out with this not being as small because, 38 millimeter lug to lug. I like this one enough. It is a finalist. Total score of 76. 59th place, another Versace, the Versace Millennium Gent. 766 bucks, 40 millimeters across, 8.9 thick. They've engraved Versace here, and you see it here. They don't want you to forget that you have a Versace watch. Again, you've got the Grecian snaky thing on the bracelet. That's really cool. Got the Medusa. There's a lot of cool things on this watch you just don't see on other watches. 766 for quartz is a bit much though. I guess that Alexander was too, with ticking quartz. That is odd. Got some other colors available as well. Total score of 76. 60th place, the first Orient in this video, the Orient Peanuts Bambino. 485 bucks, 38.4, 12.5 thick. Just like those other Bambinos, it's just really thick, and that hurts it. This one also had, they all seem to have the central second and the date window. Those aren't dress watch things, but has other redeeming qualities, which get it up to a 76. It gets a C grade. It's still passing the class, the dress watch class. It's just not at the top. They didn't get the memo on all the elements of what a dress watch is. Total score is 76. 61st place is the Merci LMM01 numerals. I think that's what they call it in their website. It's $514. It's 38 millimeters across, 9.6 thick. The case shape is kind of utilitarian. I think they use the same case for all their different models of watches. It's sort of a field watch type of a case, but it can work for dress watch. It's disappointing I don't have a shot head on. That's just how it is. They don't have a head on shot on their website. Unfortunately, there are minute Arabics printed in this minute track. That is also more of a field watch thing. It kind of detracts from the formality of the watch to have all that printing. But again, I still think it's suitable. Oh, nice. You get 100 meters water resistance. Total score of 76. 62nd place is the RZE Resolute 36. 690 bucks, 36 across, and thickness of 9.5. It is grade 2 titanium, including the bracelet. So I'm estimating maybe 120 grams. So pretty light for a bracelet watch. This crown is, well, I called it a medium crown. It's too big. We don't need crown guards on a dress watch. It really is more of a sports watch, but can still pass the class as a dress watch. And that bracelet does have on-the-fly adjustment, so that's nice. I like this brand. Total score 76. 63rd place is the Seiko Presage 34 millimeter SRPL 64. 595 bucks, 34 across, 10.7 thick. It's got some diamonds on the dial. I wear a watch with diamonds on it, fake diamonds. I think it's fine. I actually kind of like it. It makes it a little more formal. Not the most masculine thing in the world though. Beautiful dial. I love the gold with the gold dial. The two-tone is actually pretty pleasing on this. I really like this one. And this is one of the cocktail ones. I forget what it's called. But I like this one so much, it will also be a finalist. Of course, with Seiko, you get that in-house movement. Total score 75. 64th place is the Von Doren Norway chess. $438, 39 across, 9.5 thick. I forgot this was coming up. I've been really into chess lately. And what they have on the dial is, it's a game between Reddy and, I forget who the other guy was. I'll show you in a second. But these are the moves that Reddy played. He had the white pieces, and these are all his moves. E4, D4, all that stuff. Forgive me while I indulge myself in a little bit of chess stuff. I'm going to show you this game between Reddy and Tartakower. And, E4 standard opening. Tartakower's preparing the Caro-Kann defense. D4. And then, here's the standard Caro-Kann. Targeting that E4 pawn. White defends with the knight. Black takes. Knight takes back. Knight come out targeting this other knight. Queen defends. Black targets the pawn on D4. White takes. Queen has this nice fork, with a check. So gonna lose the pawn. White blocks it with the bishop. Queen takes the pawn. White castles. And before the next move, look at the evaluation bar. White is a little bit ahead, but this move, Tartakower takes, White is guaranteed to win. And it's not immediately obvious by any means, but this is the end for Black. So Reddy sacrifices his queen, and that's it. It's over. Game is over. White has the ability to do a double check, and that's what White does. So, when the king is checked by two pieces simultaneously, you cannot block it. You can't block both pieces. And so king has to move. The only eligible squares for the king are E8 and C7, and both of them lead to checkmate. If the king goes here, then this is checkmate. What was played in the game is king went to C7, and then here's checkmate. King can't go to any of these squares. King can't take the bishop. Nobody can block any of this, so that's checkmate. So that's what's on this dial, just all of White's moves. It's a really cool game. I should probably have it memorized, but I don't. I'm still a total beginner at chess. My rating is 400. I'm Crispy Jukes. You can play me if you want to, but I will lose. I will surely lose against anybody who knows what they're doing in chess. But I really like that they put that on there. Brand gives watches to really good chess players and stuff. That's a really cool thing they did. It's available in blue or green. It's just a quartz movement, but you get the small second, so that's pretty good. Suitable dress watch, score 75. 65th place is the Voncher Dream Watch Kinpaku Nuri. Yeah, it's Japanese, so maybe it is Voncher. I don't know. Anyway, it's $650. It's 42 across, 12 thick. So the size is a problem. It's losing a lot of points there. The dial is actually 18 karat gold. So that is really cool. Beautiful dial, completely sterile, no hour indexes, no minute indexes, no printing whatsoever on this watch. That's really nice. It does unfortunately have the sweep second. I would prefer if the second hand was off as well. This is a beautiful option for a dress watch. Just unfortunate that it's so big. It's going to be a lot of presence on the wrist and then also pretty thick. 12 thick is crazy. I don't know why so many of these watches are just absurdly thick, but they are. Cool watch, score 75. 66th place is the Vero X Wildwood Studio Edition. $650, 38 millimeters across, thickness of 12. We're just going to see that a lot more, these thick dress watches. Interesting water resistance of 120 meters. I really like the hands. They're kind of brown, except the second hand is like a dark blue. Just pop the second hand off. The brown is really nice though. And the indexes are cool too. These hobnail indexes. This is another bronze dress watch. I think it works. Now, when it's fresh like this, that's a little bit better. As it starts to turn brown, it's not going to be as good for a dress watch. You're probably going to want to keep this one looking fresh. Use your lemon juice, keep it nice and shiny. It's a cool idea. And I love how the dial matches the case. Total score 75. 67th place is the Archimede 1950-1. My goodness. SILS. $808, 39 across, 9.8 thick. Very plain watch. Plain watches work well when you have an interesting dial. This one is a large expanse of white. I just think it's too plain. And the image is kind of poor quality too. It's the only one I could find. The second hand is oddly thick, which just calls more attention to the sweeping second. Be better not to have it at all. This one does have a deployant clasp. Total score 75. 68th place is the Dufresne Waterloo. $699, 39 millimeters across, 10.4 thick. It has a very large crown. Cool engraved numbers here. The 12 and the 6, 3, and 9 are all larger. It has a linen dial. That's really nice. Really bright printing for Dufresne. Does give it some more character. Total score 75. 69th place, another Zeno watch. Zeno watch Basel flat quartz. $504, 38 across, only 7 millimeters thick. That's great. Super thin watch, pretty good size. Oh, this should have a small second, not a sweep second. Darn it. Yeah, small second gets a couple points more than a sweep second, so this would be a 76. Sorry about that error. This watch is deserving of a higher place. Definitely a suitable dress watch, score of 74. 70th place, the Bulova Commodore. $870, 34.4 width, and 13 thick. Yeah, Bulova makes thick watches. I think they're associated with Orient. The Bulova watches all seem to be a little bit thicker. Oh, interesting font in the date window. Got kind of a serif font or something. And they chose the 18. People usually choose different numbers. I don't know, looks good. These numbers remind me of the Hamilton Bolton, similar distinctive numbers. Although the 5 is cockamamie. The 5 is not straight. That bothers me. Very interesting lugs on this. Interesting strap as well. It's a cool one. I'm sure it's marketed as a ladies' watch, but it would be totally fine for a man. It's just really thick. Score 74. 71st place is the Smith's Trans Global. $490, 38 millimeters across, 12.3 thick. Beautiful aventurine dial. It's got the sector cross thing going on. Really cool minute track. Comes on the Beads of Rice bracelet. It's a pretty watch. This one actually has a Faraday cage. That's something cool that Smith's does. Total score 74. 72nd place is the Knot Premium Japan Concept. $623, 38 across, 10 millimeters thick. I don't know what the dial is exactly, but I'm calling it a stone dial. Yeah, there's a really cool Knot watch in the budget category. I think they were in the top 10. This is a more expensive offering from Knot. I think it's a Japanese company. This is an automatic watch, but it's only 10 millimeters. So it must have a Miyota. That's pretty good. It's a nice one. Score 74. The first man-size cocktail time. In 73rd place is the Seiko 5 cocktail time, SRPE 45. I didn't necessarily include all the cocktail times that exist. You get the idea. They're 12 millimeters thick. They're just all going to be thicker, and they're going to be kind of large for a dress watch, in my opinion. I mean, 38.5 doesn't get a penalty. The thickness is where there's a problem. These numbers are kind of large too. The dial is beautiful. I would like to see all this stuff more minimal. Just have hour markers. We don't need the Arabics. Make them a lot smaller. Take off some of this text. Make the Seiko logo smaller. Just highlight the really beautiful dial. Case is also very plain and kind of blocky. It's not very sleek, kind of chunky. But it's a suitable dress watch. It passes the class. Score 74. 74th place is the Fendi F is Fendi. What? 556 bucks. Only 28 millimeters. And thickness of 8.5. And the whole watch is up here, so you have the crown not where you normally see a crown. That looks so weird. I mean, the gigantic F looks weird too. It's an oddball watch just designed to provoke a reaction from somebody. Very narrow strap. That does make it look like a lady's watch, and it clearly is a lady's watch. When I first did these, I pretty much excluded watches that were under 32. I thought, it's just ridiculous. Who would wear such a small watch? Then once I actually started mocking them up on the wrist, and I realized, hey, I wear a 32. It's not crazy. Then I started to expand a little, and I included some of these 28s and stuff, just to see how they would do. This one does all right. It is heavily penalized for being too small. I think 28 is too small for most guys, but if you have a really tiny wrist, you can look at 28s, and for you, maybe that's not such a big downside. Still passes the class, score 74. 75th place is the Bravur Scandinavia. 995 bucks, 39 across, 10.1 millimeters thick. Unnecessary minute Arabics here. Detracts from it. All these colors here, just get that off. Who needs it? Why is it there? Otherwise, there's something neat about this watch. It's classy. The green one looks pretty cool too. I like it. Score 74. In 76th place is the Venezia Nico Arsenale Ultra Black 40 millimeter. 885 bucks. Feel of a 43. Similar to that Tissot PRX. Thickness of 9 millimeters. And yeah, they've got this special black dial that absorbs 1000% of light, or it's a black hole where light cannot escape. But you've got a crystal on top of it, which is going to reflect the light. You've even got a little flecto right here. But it's a very dark black dial. And I love that it's completely sterile. I love the cross on Venezia Nico. Really cool company. Yeah, it's shown here on the silicone. I don't know if you can get an aftermarket leather. And they've got the crown guards and stuff. It really is more of a sports watch, but I think it can pass as a dress watch. Can barely skate in. Final score of 74. 72nd place is the Baltic MR Classic. $638, 36 millimeters, and it's 9.9 millimeters thick. Really nice numerals here. Are those Breguet numerals? Does Breguet just do everything? Breguet hands, Breguet numerals. These stylized, italicized Arabic numerals. They look so nice. I love the offset small seconds. Could do without the minute Arabics on the chapter ring here. Very pleasing dial, like the texture. Total score 74. 78th place, the Nevada Grenchen Antarctic 35. $945. 35 millimeters. Heck yeah. Great size. For me, I think 35 is ideal. My grandpa's 33. I still think it's suitable, but it is a little small. I do prefer a 35. I think 35 is ideal for 7.25 inch wrist. But yeah, they've got the lume and stuff. Just a lot of little pink things that keep it from being a great dress watch. It's just kind of an okay dress watch. And it kind of pinch hits. It's kind of an everyday watch too. Score 74. 79th place is the Pitzman the First. $999, 39 across, 11.6 thick. It's a really cool logo they have here. They say it's made in Seoul. It's South Korean. Cool looking watch. Score 74. 5th place is the Zentier Z5, 38 millimeter. $849, has a feel like a 41.2 millimeter, and the thickness is 7.9 millimeters. They jumped on that integrated bracelet sports watch trend, and it even has like a waffle dial, like the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. It's taking inspiration from a few famous watches. While it is a sports watch, I do think it skates in. You can wear this with your tux. It's not the best choice though. Score 74. 81st place is the Tissot PRC 100. It's $515. It's 39 millimeters left to right, but I'm saying it has a feel more like a 40 and a half. Thickness is 9.2. Brushed case is not very dressy. The lume is not dressy. It's a solar quartz movement, so that's kind of interesting. So you have a ticking second hand and the date window. Yeah, that stuff's not dressy. Very prominent minute track too. It's a good sports watch though. Score 73. 82nd place is the Van Doren Runda Candy. $407, 39 across, 10.7. So yeah, I think the other Van Doren is dressier than this one. This is the first one I've seen with the actual Perlon strap, though, in this video. Perlon straps are pretty cool. I have a really cheap Perlon strap. I would not recommend getting cheap because this thing is rough. It doesn't look very well. It's covered in glue and stuff. I mean, as with all things in life, you pay more, you get something better. Yeah, the buckle on this is just awful. So I would recommend maybe paying a little bit more and getting a nice Perlon strap. But I like the idea of it. Sort of like NATO straps. I like the idea, but then in actual practice, sometimes there's some downsides that you wouldn't think of. Total score of 73. 83rd place. I hinted this was coming. The Tissot PRX Quartz 35 millimeter. Size is great. $450. Has a feel maybe like a 38 millimeter watch because there's so much case out here. And thickness of 9.6. As mother of pearl dial, there's a lot to recommend it. But it is more of a sports watch than a dress watch. The second, the lume, the date. There's extraneous text. It's a cool watch. I would love to own one. Score 73. 84th place is the Certina DS8 Gent. $423, 40 millimeters across, 8.4 millimeters thickness. Typical sports watch downsides that make it not a great dress watch. It's a good sports watch though. Score 73. 85th place, the Citizen Addison. $460, 41 millimeters across, 10.6 thick. It's another solar movement, solar quartz. I like the diamonds. Those look pretty good. It's clearly a men's watch. It's 41 millimeter. So Citizen thinks diamonds are appropriate for men, and so do I. No, but sometimes it's a bit much. Some of these ladies' watches are just too much feminine. This one's masculine, and the size helps with that too. Total score of 73. 86th place, the Traska Commuter 36. $690, 36.5 across, 10.5 thick. And this is the first one that out of the box is not passing my scoring system. All the remaining watches will be not recommended out of the box. This one, if you swap it off the bracelet, it's recommended as a dress watch. Put it on a nice leather strap or something. You can get this up another 3 points, get it up to a 75. I have the Traska Summiteer. It is a beautiful watch. It is so well finished. I actually reviewed it and everything. I really like it. Their on-the-fly adjustment is really nice too on the bracelet. So I definitely like Traska. And this is a great sports watch. Can do double duty as a dress watch if you swap off the bracelet. Score 72. 87th place is the Carl Lehman Classic 38. Very plain looking watch. Not particularly dressy. And it gets a score of 72, not recommended. 88th place is the Hitori Nexus Shirakawa. There's some kanji, I think, here. Doesn't look the same as on the dial. But that's on their website, so I just pasted it over. Very interesting lugs here. It's a unique looking watch. It has its gigantic crown. And it is pretty big. I mean, these lugs, even though they're skeletonized, they do add to the presence. It's going to have a large presence. Not recommended. 89th place is the Quinte Laurent. $432, 36 across, 10 millimeters thick. Very, very plain looking watch. I just noticed I have an error on the scorecard. This should be a sweep second. Because it says right there, automatic. They make a quartz version of this. I thought that this was the quartz, but this is the automatic version. So yeah, that would be one more point. It would get a 73. Technically still passing. So this is passing even on the bracelet. It's a cool looking watch. I like the gold crown. The two-tone thing is appealing. This is a little bit discordant. The brushed end link with the polished lugs. Good looking watch. Score 73. 40th place is the Makina Mephisto 3. 38 millimeter, but it's got more presence than that because it's the integrated thing. Really cool dial. Very minimal text. I like the three-dimensional aspect of it. Plugged into the scoring system, it just does not pass. All the little things add up. Oh, and I said it's passing with strap swap. How are you going to swap it to a different strap? Okay, so it shouldn't even have that. Score 72. Do not recommend for your formal function. 91st place, the Heritor Frederick. These minute Arabics are unsightly. I don't care for those. I like how the minute track is just these lines here. It's an interesting watch. I would like for these indexes to match the case though. Kind of more red. Score 72, not recommended. 92nd place is the Makina Andros 2. Really, really interesting looking. The sub-dial here for the seconds is really odd. This oblong shape. It's cool. And these hands are industrial and like robotic. Kind of looks like a robot. Oh, this is weird that they put that there. Cool looking watch. And since it's on the silicone, if you swap it off that silicone, I do recommend it as a dress watch. 93rd place is the Nivrel Heritage Automatique. Very plain looking watch. Tiny little text here. There's something off with the balance. I do like that they apply these indices, but overall not recommended. 94th place is another cocktail time. The Seiko Presage SRP 841. $475. 33.8 across. It's like a 34. Thickness 11.3. Yeah, it's a nice watch. I consider getting this watch for my wife, but I've learned my lesson. She just doesn't wear watches. Maybe I'll get it for my daughter someday. It's a beautiful watch. It's a very feminine color. I do think they have a couple other colors, pink and something else. Here's that Seiko Presage mocked up on the wrist. Totally suitable. 33.8, that's no problem. It's gonna wear just fine on a man's wrist. I think it looks a lot more formal with this leather strap. And under my scoring system, you can get the score up 6 more points. You can get a 77 by swapping it onto leather. It's just more of the dress watch look, as I illustrated earlier. Or did I illustrate? I'll just show again. You know, it's not like a bracelet is horrible if you're wearing a suit. Not by any means. It still looks pretty good, but the leather is much more formal. And that's what this video is about. It's about formal watches, and it's more formal to have the leather strap. Total score of 71. 95th place is the Cincinnati Watch Company Guild, and it's gilded with gold. Really cool retro look here. They have the tuxedo dial, you know, just black and white. That's nice. Unfortunately, a lot of these things add up here. Under the scoring system, did not pass. They can't all pass, and this one fell below. Not recommended. 96th place is the Koei Old Smith 90-007. $655. It's a 35 millimeter. I know it looks a little weird with the white in here. Sometimes it's hard to remove the background without making it look really bad. This one's excessively thick, 12 millimeters. If they fixed that thickness issue, it would have passed. But as is, not recommended. 97th place is the Zelos Helica. 91st of the ones I can even pass the class if you do some extra homework, buy another strap, swap it out. Beautiful dial. It looks like feathers. It's amazing. Zelos does amazing things, and their prices are not crazy. It's a beautiful watch. I like the case shape. It's just a really nice one. And recommended if you swap the strap. 98th place is the Traumatic ZY6 Avorio. Sector dial, very low contrast. It's got a lot of stuff going for it, but under the scoring system, does not pass the class. 99th place is the Richmond Spencer PRS 8. Cool looking watch, but it's 42 millimeters. Way too big for a dress watch. Not recommended. 100th place. 92nd of the ones it's possible for me to recommend for you is the Hamilton Jazzmaster 34. $995. 34 is a great size. So I've made my opinion known. Thickness of only 10.3. It's got a lot going for it. There is loom on these hands. It confused me at first. I thought maybe these were skeletonized, but it is actually loomed hands. I found a picture of the loom. There are crown guards, inexplicably. So again, it's towing the line between formal and semi-formal. That's one of the reasons it doesn't pass out of the box. Out of the box score of 70. 101st place is the Heritor Esteban. And it flips just like that Vario does, you know, on its axis here in the middle. Some ugly looking green loom on these hands. And of course it's going to be thick. It's 14 millimeter thickness. This one's an automatic movement. I actually don't know what's on the other side. I like that you can buy a Reverso style watch without paying Reverso prices. Total score of 70. 102nd place is the Von Dog Boss. $991. 40 millimeters across, 9.4 thick. I like how they spell automatic. The red date is also kind of charming. Otherwise, it's kind of a really plain watch, looking similar to the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. They've got a brushed bezel. You know, polished is a little bit better for formal things. Decent offering, but out of the box score is 70. You can get that up if you swap it off the bracelet. 103rd place is the Hesili Timeless. And I really like the style of it. I like how the dial is glossy. That looks really nice. The printing is nice. They did a good font. The numbers are pleasing. Just doesn't pass the class. Score of 70. 104th place is the Delma Heritage. And this is a big one. 43 millimeters. That is very large for a dress watch. It's taking up the whole darn wrist, and it's just a ton of dial. Not recommended. 105th place is the Avig Thor. Something a little bit different. This logo is really interesting. I like that a lot. I like their text, but not passing the class. Score 70. 106th place, another Seiko cocktail time. This is the SRPK 46. It's $475, 40 and a half across, large, 11.8 thick. So, that's the downfall of the Seikos and Orients, is they're just so darn thick. Mineral crystal. It's a lot that's not great about this one. If it does that extra credit assignment and gets a better strap, then it can skate through the class. But out of the box, score of 69. And I just wanted to show you what it looks like on the wrist. Let's take a look. And when I say it's large on the wrist, this is what I mean. 40 and a half. On my 7.25 inch wrist, it's really taken up the wrist. And especially when you consider that thickness, it's too large for a dress watch. It does look a lot more dressy on a black leather strap though. 107th place is the Zeppelin Friedrichshafen. Beautiful gold dial. I love that the Arabics are right on the edge. It's very pleasing. The hands are nice. It's just a little bit large. There's extraneous text on the dial. Just doesn't pass the class. Score 69. 108th place is the Zeno Watch Basel Vintage U. And another one that just doesn't pass the class, 31. It's a very small watch. I do think it was penalized for that. It's not too thick, but there's just a lot of things that don't add up to the best dress watch. Score 69. 109th place is the Seiko Cultura SUR 588. It's a weird looking one. $525, 34 across, 8.4 thick. There's a lot of aggressive cuts going on all over the place. It's got this kind of skeletal bracelet, crown guards. It does have a cabochon crown, mother of pearl dial. It's a cool watch. And if it does its extra credit assignments, it can pass the class with a strap swap. Out of the box score of 69. 110th place, the Shinola Runwell. It's not huge. It's only a 36. Gigantic crown though. And the ticking seconds and the date and a lot of that other stuff that's not great for a dress watch. Not recommended. Score of 69. 111th place, the Vare A5 Atlas. It's a 40. It's getting kind of large. It's got gigantic hands. Loomed and everything. Not passing the class. Score 69. 112th place is the Sterling Gaming. Fluted bezel, trying to look like a date chest. Ticking second hand. Swap the strap, and I can recommend it. Out of the box score 69. 113th place is the Venezianico Redentore Diamond. They do have diamonds here. Beautiful watch. Just doesn't pass the class out of the box. You can swap that strap. Crown guards are a problem. Second hand, like to see that off of there. The crown guard should not be there. Has a lot of potential. And it is kind of thick too. Out of the box score 68. Another Seiko. 114th place is the Seiko Presage SPB 463J1. $950, 40.2 across, 13 thick. Good grief, Seiko. Very, very thick. They've got extraneous text. I do like the hands though, the gray hands. Mentioned that is very pleasing. Swap it off the bracelet. It is a suitable dress watch. Out of the box score of 68. 115th place, the Main Manhattan 37. And it's 37 by 37. Yeah, the feel is going to be more than that because it's not a circle. It's this odd shape. The feel is going to be more like a 40. Really cool sports watch, not a great dress watch. Score 68. 116th place is the Archange AS01. Neat looking watch, not recommended for your formal event. Score of 68. 117th place is the Herodia Monte Carlo. Really looking like a date chest. Really looking like this Parnas date chest homage I have. Extraneous text. But this one can get its grade up at the last minute and pass the class. Out of the box score of 67. 118th place, the Royal Duke Oscar. Very plain looking watch. Not recommended. 119th place is the Ballad Chapter 8. This one actually has a lot of character to it, but not recommended for your formal event. Too big, 41 millimeters, 12.8 thick. Score 66. 120th place is the Seals Sea Storm. Covered in plastic or something? Kind of an Oyster Perpetual homage, but with gigantic hands. Bizarrely huge, rectangular hour hand. If you like it, go for it though. Just swap the strap and you can wear it to the opera. Out of the box score of 66. 121st place is the Von Dog Primus. Looking similar to other German watches, It's looking very German. It's probably not German though. Oh, it says made in Germany. Okay, yeah, it's German. I mean, that's the vibe I got looking at it. I like the font for the numbers. It's very simple, pleasing. Not recommended. 122nd place is the Orient Star Contemporary Standard. It's an Orient, so it's very thick. Not recommended. 123rd place, another integrated bracelet sports watch. It's the Festina 20083-1. Beautiful dial. It's really cool how the circles kind of gravitate towards the date window right here. Beautiful thing they did. Really cool sports watch. Not recommended as a dress watch. Score 65. 124th place, the Luch Watch Sirius. And this one is extremely big, 44 millimeters. Not recommended. 125th place, the Notice Unity. Seems like it might be okay, but it just doesn't pass the class. There's a lot of pink on here. Score 65, not recommended. 126th place is the Trafford Crossroads Moon Tower. Cool watch, a little too big for a dress watch. And other issues with it as well, not recommended. 127th place, the Erebus Ascent. And yeah, somebody pointed out to me this is named after some Greek god of darkness and evil. Yeah, I wouldn't get a watch named after some Greek god of evil. Score 65. 128th place is the Laurier Astra. Really long lugs. I like the red date, but not recommended. Score 64. 129th place is the Tussaino Windseeker. Oh wait, should I try? Tussaino Windseeker. I like the pattern on the dial, but it's not recommended. It's a dress watch. 130th place is the Carpenter M23 Brooklyn. It's not a great dress watch. Definitely don't care for this one. Not recommended. 131st place. I think this is our first Emporio Armani. It's really huge, 43 millimeters, 13 thick. Do not get it as a dress watch. It's way too big. 132nd place, the Vratislava Conceptum Architect. I like the kind of industrial look to it, but it's not recommended for your gala. 133rd place, the Shinola Vinton. Cool mother of pearl dial. Got credit for the mother of pearl dial, but nothing else pretty much. There's a ton of pink on this scorecard. Not recommended. 134th place, the Selton Series 00. I thought this was a moon phase watch at first. It was in the moon phase watch score sheet, and I was working on the scores, and I found this one, and I realized this is a day-night indicator. And so I had to make a decision, because there's a lot of these watches that have day-night indicators. Was I going to put that with the moon phase watches? Didn't make a ton of sense, so I put it in here. There might be a few watches in the affordable, in the budget categories that had day-night indicators that I'm going to have to put somewhere else. I don't know what I'm going to do with those, but I'll let you know if I find any. But yeah, this was not a great simple dress watch. I didn't penalize it for the day-night. Oh, I did. It says day-night. That's better than a date, though. A date would get a larger penalty than day-night. It is a cool thing to have. You know, it's 13 thick. It's a 40 millimeter watch. It's got a lot of pink. Not recommended. 135th place, the Zeppelin Atlantic. Cool looking watch. It's got that power reserve. That's pretty cool. Gigantic crown. The biggest crown of all time. Not recommended. 136th place is the Henry Archer Ohov Ad Astra Aventurine. Beautiful dial. I like Aventurine dials. Does not pass the class. Score 61. 137th place is the Xanto Officer Classic Round. Another huge one, 43 millimeters. Not recommended as a dress watch. 138th place is the Sai Mote-One the Mote-One Auto 24. It's got a day-night indicator. It's looking kind of racing. Grade 2 titanium case, wow. Not recommended as a dress watch. 139th place is the Henry Archer Vesterhav. Another Henry Archer. Sad to see them not doing well for dress watches, but that's not really their thing. They're kind of sporty, kind of whimsical. Not what you'd think of when you're planning to go to the opera or some award ceremony or something. Not recommended. 140th place is the Azion H03. Cool looking sport watch. Not recommended as a dress watch. 8 more to go. 141st place is the Swiss Military. Fluted bezel. It's trying to be another date just. The red is unsightly. This military lettering for some reason. Not recommended. 142nd place, the Seiko Baby Alpinist. This did really well as a Gata watch. It's a good go anywhere, do anything watch. And arguably with a go anywhere, do anything watch, you can make it work in a formal setting, or at least semi-formal. You know, I was trying to find the best formal watches. This ain't it. Not recommended. And the scores are getting darker. 59. Yeah, it's failing my dress watch test. 143rd place is the Rula Space Control. Kind of looks Soviet or something. Has kind of an oppressive appearance to it. Not recommended. 144th place is the Heritor Argento. 45. Is that the biggest we've seen? Humongous watch. Not recommended as a dress watch. 145th place is the Edma Crisier. Another big one. It's just really big. It's not dressy whatsoever. Not recommended. 146th place is the Onus Day Date. Trying to be a Rolex Day Date, but failing miserably. Way too much money for this quartz watch with a ticking seconds. Don't do it. Cyclops that does nothing. Just stay away. Stay far, far away from Onus. Nothing good comes from the house of Onus. 147th place is the Seals Model A. It's technically a 41 left to right, but the case is humongous. Feel of 47.2. Just a gigantic watch if you're trying to do a dress watch thing. And very thick. Not recommended. And the last one, the lowest scoring watch in the entire video, is the Pallanti One Time Zone. So it doesn't have dual time capability. That's what we know about it. I think they're trying to mimic Franck Mueller or something. There's another brand that does these kind of watches. This one does not pass the class. It's humongous. You know, their stated dimensions are 43 by 46.6. It's just a gigantic watch. Tiniest little crown. It's just not recommended. It's the worst one. Score of 46. It's hard to get a score that low, but they achieved it. All right, so those were all the watches in the quality. We're in quality, right? Quality price range, $400 to $1,000. We had some really cool ones. Again, in the top 10, I made this point earlier. These watches are not from big brands. Got Movado, but that's about it. I guess the next one would be Versace. These other ones are pretty unheard of. Why does Anders get a 5 out of 10? Maybe Anders is more well-known than I thought. Wonder if that's an error. We had some other really cool ones. The Lorison is so good. Feynman is really cool. So many great dress watches. I always have to go back and refresh my feelings. Just make myself feel better about the state of watches to see some of the better ones that exist throughout the video. Just a little bit of a palate cleanser after those really bad ones at the end. Sfersute was close to being a finalist, but it didn't make it. And now I'm ready to take you on to the runoff rounds. So let's do that now. And now for the runoff rounds. Start off with the 25 finalists. These are all the ones that have a chance to win. And the first 10 of them are just the ones with the top 10 scores. And then the rest of them, I chose subjectively to try to, my goal was to try to make sure that there was nice brand diversity and just pull ones that I think had a good chance of excelling in some of these rounds that we're about to go into. There's going to be 5 rounds here. The scores are shrunk down to 75% of what they were before, and then points are added on top based on how well they perform compared to the other watches that made it to the finalists. And affordability is just, it's a 3-point penalty if you're at the top of the price range, 0-point penalty if you're at the bottom. I'll explain all these as they go. Let's start off with round number 1, formal looks. All right, here they are. What I'm looking for with formal looks is watches that are simple and sleek, elegant. You know, I'm trying to think like this guy right here. He's got his nice tux with the white tie. What kind of watch does he want that's not going to detract from his look? What kind of watch is just going to look really elegant? And so I ranked these in order. I think the Marie Lacroix was the best one for that. I think Versace is the worst. I don't think this looks very elegant. It's kind of loud. So it detracts from the elegance of his look to have these louder watches. Round 2 is character. And this round only gets 8 points. The last round had 12 points because I think formal is more important than having character. But what I mean by character is that the watch has something to say. The design of it is interesting. It's original and different. It's fresh. It's distinctive. Things like that. The watch itself brings something to the table that's interesting. And the Feynman Q absolutely does that. Tissot Classic Dream really does not bring anything to the table that's interesting. It doesn't mean it's a bad dress watch. It just means it doesn't have a ton of character compared to these other ones. That's how I rank those ones. Round 3 is impressiveness. And that's similar to character, but it's really just more the pop, the wow factor. Does the watch impress? And so, you know, like this Lorison here with the beautiful stone dial, that's impressive. It's an impressive watch. The Seiko, that looks really impressive. You see it and it's going to be like, ooh, what is that watch? Some of these other ones, not as much. They're just kind of designed to blend in more. Round 4, masculinity. Means just what you think it means. Does the watch look like a man's watch? Which one looks the manliest? And the Sooner is the most manly of the watches. Bolton is right up there too. I think this is a really masculine design from Hamilton. Bulova as well. Movado is looking very feminine. The Balmain, especially feminine. Versace. The Denizen Black Dial would score higher on masculinity than the white dial. But there it is. In the last round, affordability is a -3 penalty. It's just allocated over the price range. The Von Doren Runda, it's only $407. That's right near the bottom of the range of prices of these finalists. Basically gets no penalty whatsoever. The Seiko SPB 521J1, right near, it's the highest. So it gets -3 penalty for affordability. All right, now I'm ready to show you the top 10. We'll start with number 10, go down to the number 1, show you the results of those rounds. 10th place is the Denizen ALD Ghost. It has a feel of a 35.9 millimeter. It's very thin, only 6 millimeters. As I said before, I love that they put the printing on the glass. It's not even on the dial, it's floating above it. You can see the little shadow. That is so cool. The mother of pearl pattern is really pleasing. I like it a lot. The white strap is kind of a problem. Masculinity is where this one fell short. It's one reason it's not higher than 10th place. It does kind of look feminine. You can boost the masculinity by putting on a black strap. I think that helps. And again, the black dial version of it is very masculine. But this is just, the presence on the wrist. It's going to have plenty of presence. I think it's going to have kind of the presence of a 40 millimeter watch. That was my number 10. In 9th place is the Sooner Nostalgia Paris. Width of 28, yeah, left to right. I'll show you the actual feel in a moment. 7 millimeters thick. Price of $485. Very simple. It didn't score high for character or impressiveness. That's not what this watch is for. But it does the formal looks pretty well. It's very masculine as well. They're doing a good job here. And despite the thickness, it has plenty of wrist presence. Here it is mocked up on my 7¼ inch wrist. Plenty of presence. I'm saying it's a 35 presence, but yeah, it's a 40 lug to lug. So that's going to be totally big enough. In fact, that guy with the 6¼ inch wrist, he'd say this is too big. He said 38.5 was too big for him. Just wanted to give you an idea what it looks like on my wrist. Final score of 86. 8th place is the Von Doren Runda. 39 millimeter watch, 10.7 thick, only $407. Yeah, this one's really nice. I really like the gold dial. Looks so good. The very thin indexes are pleasing. I'd really prefer if there wasn't lume on these hands, but it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's in my top 10. Final score of 86. 7th place is the Second Hour Memoir. Only 7.3 thick, $401. So right at the bottom of this price range. Really nice look to it. I love the ice blue one. The gray one looks really nice too. It has wonderful formal looks. It looks very formal. Not a ton of character to it because it is kind of a homage. Impressiveness, not that high scoring for impressiveness either. Masculinity, it's also kind of below average. It had a great original score and its final score is 87. Let's take a look on the wrist. All right, I'm saying presence is 33, but the lug to lug is 39. So I think it's going to wear well on pretty much any man's wrist. It's going to be a great size. The strap is a little bit feminine. Might be better to change that to black, but it's okay how it is. Final score of 87. 6th place is the Hamilton Bolton. Really classic watch. Really nice what they've done here with the melted shape, the really pleasing numbers. It's got a ton of character. 7 out of 8 for character. Very masculine looking. Yeah, left to right, it's only 27 millimeters, but I'll show you. It wears nice and big. It's really not too thick. Hamilton is pretty good about thickness, actually. Here it is mocked up on my 7¼ inch wrist. Plenty of presence, not a problem. Lug to lug is almost 42 millimeters. So it takes up the wrist. It's just very narrow. That's what goes into the presence calculation. But when you're wearing a suit, you're not really thinking about how thin it is left to right because a lot of the times it's going to be under the cuff anyway, So that doesn't even necessarily factor in. Yeah, I really like this one. Kind of out of my price range, but from here on out in this series, everything's going to be out of my price range. So I'll have to just adjust my mind and say like, oh, it's just high for the range. And this one is high for this price range. Oh, and therefore the affordability, got -2. So that does factor in. Final score of 88. 5th place, we have the beautiful Lorison LS06. I put some dimensions here. It's 9.4 thick with that beautiful movement in the back. What do they call that thing? It's got that beautiful micro rotor movement in the back. I love these indexes. They're right on the edge. You just get that big dial, beautiful dial. See the beautiful stone. All the stones look wonderful. The green one, the purple one, the tiger's eye. I mean, I think blue would be my pick. Blue would absolutely be my pick for a dress watch. They had the steel case too. Did pretty well in all these areas. Masculinity was the one that it fell a little bit short in. Mocked up on my wrist, it looks so good. I think this is an excellent size. It is a little bit larger. This is gonna just wear it fantastically. Yeah, this is a great one. Total score of 89. Fourth place is the Feynman Q, and it is indeed 34 left to right, 34 top to bottom. Thickness of 7 millimeters, price of $556. It lost a little bit in the formal looks round because I do think, especially for me, if I'm wearing a tuxedo and I have the Feynman Q, it's gonna stand out. It looks a little bit avant-garde. It's got this bright color. So when I'm in uniform, playing in the symphony, I don't think this is a viable option for me. I have to stick with something just more traditional, more muted. But if you're not working, this would be a good watch to just be a showpiece, that sort of thing. It's got great character. It's very impressive. It's very masculine too. And on my 7¼ inch wrist, it's a good size, really good size for a dress watch. Yeah, I'm really pleased with this one. Final score of 89. Still just a B+, but we've got some A's coming up. Third place is the Bulova Frank Sinatra My Way. Thickness of 12 millimeters. That's probably its worst attribute, is how thick it is. Price of $506. It did well for formal looks, character, impressiveness. It did really well for masculinity. This is one of the most masculine watches we have in the finalists. And it's not at the top of the price range. I mentioned earlier that this might be a little too big for some guys. It does have a 46 millimeter lug to lug. So that's something to keep in mind. Might be a little bit too big. Just the Seiko on my wrist here has a 38.5 millimeter lug to lug. So this is way bigger lug to lug than the one on my wrist. So you're just not going to see as much strap. Score of 90. So it is technically a type of an A grade. It's an A-, but still just a great dress watch. Highly recommended. Second place is the Anders & Company AC2 Vulcan. Very simple. It reminds me of Grand Seiko, but it's more fresh. They've got this really interesting case shape. Beautiful dial, ice blue dial. Thickness is only 5.7. Very, very thin watch. One of the thinnest. It looks very formal. It's going to fit right in, especially out of the box on this strap. Looks very formal. Doesn't have a ton of character, but it's not bottom by any means. It's not super impressive, but it's very masculine. So this is a good one. And only getting a -1 for affordability because $522 is on the lower end of the price spectrum for this price range. I did not mock this one up, partly because it's got this background I'd have to remove, but I suppose I could have. It's going to be a great wearing size, 38.2. It'll have plenty of wrist presence. Total score of 93. First place, what is the one that defeated all the others? Beating all the others by a literal, you can measure it out, literal mile, the Surna Nostalgia Limited. 96 total score. Way above everybody else. This just did so well in pretty much all the subjective rounds. Only 7 millimeters thick. Yes, it's only 28 left to right, but it's still going to wear just fine. I'll show you that in a second. Very formal. One of the best for the formal looks. It actually does have some character to it. They've got the stepped case and everything. It's kind of middle of the pack for that. Somewhat impressive. Very masculine. One of the most masculine watches. Was it number 1? I can't remember. Very masculine. And I think it's ideal size. Just great. Great dress watch size. Whether its overall presence is larger than the Seiko, I can't remember, my presence calculation. We can take lug to lug. The Surnar has 40 millimeter lug to lug. This one has 38.5. So they're going to be very close in size. I think it's going to be a great size to wear with a suit. I love the blued hands. The dials were so excellent. It was hard to find pictures of it, but on the website, they did have a couple little videos where a guy's playing with the dial. And the dials look really nice. They did a good job with that. It's just a very excellent Cartier homage. And they mention on their website, they have some blog thing where they explain the different inspirations that they took from. And yeah, it's not only Cartier, but they went somewhere fresh with it, and I really like what they did. And that's my number 1. I think that's the best dress watch in this price category. All right, so those were the top 10. We had the Cerner Nostalgia Limited, the Anderson Company AC2 Vulcan, the Bulova Frank Sinatra My Way, the Feynman Q, the Lorisum LS06, the Hamilton Bolton, excellent, the Second Hour Memoir, the Von Doren Runda, the Cerner Nostalgia Paris, and the Dennison ALD Ghost. So those were my top 10. I think those are the 10 best dress watches in this price category. But as I usually do, I'm going to go ahead and give you my 5 runners-up as well. So let's do that now. Here are the 5 runners-up. First runner-up is the Herbelin Art Deco. Really cool one. Got these nice little ribs up here. Lug to lug, which is 42.9. Presence is 37. I don't know why my scorecards are saying the width left to right when it's a presence thing. I have to check what's going on with the scorecards. They got kind of messed up. So I put that information on here for you. Very thin, good price. Doesn't have a ton of character going on with it, but it's my first runner-up. Runner-up number 2 is the Seiko Presage SPB 521J1. It's the best Seiko out of the bunch. It's a 36 millimeter. That's awesome. Thickness is the main problem with it. Otherwise, it does pretty well, but its original score was a factor. It is very thick, and that's what kept it out of the top 10. If it was a lot thinner, it would surely have been in the top 10. Final score of 84. Third runner-up is that Versace Greca Fortuna. When I first did the scores, this was the number 1 scoring. And then when I double-checked everything, there were a couple others that tied with it. I couldn't give it first place anymore, but yeah, this one, it does look very feminine. It only got a 1 out of 12 for masculinity. So very low scoring there. Also, the formal looks is kind of a problem. It's a little bit loud. Tons of character, very impressive. So if you like the watch, definitely go for it. It's a cool one. Score of 83. Runner-up number 4 is the Vario Versa, like the Reverso, but it's the Versa. Lug to lug of 39, so it's going to be fine on the wrist. It's going to be a good size for most dudes, in my estimation. It is very thick, but that's, as I said before, it's because they have 2 watches sandwiched together. So 2 6mm watches sandwiched together. So that's a pretty good achievement. I'd like to see it thinner, but I know that's hard to do unless the 2 movements are kind of in the same case somehow. That'd be hard to do. I know JLC does it somehow. I think theirs is probably thinner than this. You got to pay a lot of money for a JLC. After all is said and done, its final score was 82. Of those in the finalists. And the last runner-up is the Movado Bold Evolution, the ladies version, the 34mm. The men's version is just a little bit too big. This one is good though. Swap it off this ladies strap, and I think it's viable for a man as well. I really like Movado's design. I think there's going to be some more in the next video. I kind of hope so, because Movado just seems like one of those watches that should be really excellent as a dress watch. I do have one as a runner-up. Hopefully there'll be some higher scoring ones in the next video. This one did lose a lot for the masculinity. I think I might have said it was the most feminine of all the watches. If you're a man and you're wearing a tuxedo, there's no question that you're a man. It's just, does it look like you're wearing your wife's watch? I think that's what we all want to avoid. But this is my runner-up number 5. So that's it. Those were all the watches. All the watch content is now completed. But you see there's still time remaining in the video. That's because every one of these videos I do in service to my Lord Jesus. And so I'm going to share a Bible verse with you at the end. So let's do that now. Welcome to Bible Time. I'm not a pastor or a trained biblical scholar. I just like sharing the Bible. Today, we're continuing the series on the Matthew 5 Beatitudes with number 3. Probably the most famous Beatitude. This is in Matthew 5:5. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. And let's take a look at this chart here. So, I just kind of laid out who is blessed and what the blessing is. And who is blessed is definitely a subversion of expectations. The one who hungers, those who mourn, the meek, especially with the English word meek. It doesn't seem like these would be good things. In trying to understand the meaning of today's Beatitude, we have to look at the Greek words. That's mostly what this is going to be. And normally I do the Greek words in order, but today I'm going to save meek for the end because it's the most difficult word to translate, and understanding what that word means is critical to understanding the Beatitude. It's kind of the foundation of the whole thing. And of course, the Beatitudes being just part of the Sermon on the Mount that Jesus preached. Even though I'm going to save meek for the end, the bottom line is that meek in the biblical sense doesn't mean weak. Not at all. But I'll cover that one last. And yeah, I don't have a 3-point outline today. we're just going to kind of explore the plain meaning of the Beatitude to uncover what Jesus was teaching. So the first Greek word I want to look at is they. And it's an important point, they. The Greek is Strong's, New Testament Strong's 846. It's atoi. And it's just simply a pronoun. It could be she, him, her, he, they, them. They have different endings to differentiate which one you're talking about. And atoi just means them, they. It just refers to a group of people. And it's interesting because we still use this word auto in English. We have English words that have this. Automobile means that the vehicle is self-propelling, referring to self, auto. And then automatic means that a thing performs some action without human intervention. Like the automatic watch winds itself. You don't have to manually wind it. And I just brought up this word, they, because it clarifies that the Beatitude is talking about a group of people. Because there was one point when I was looking through this that I thought, is this just talking about Jesus? Because Jesus is meek, and the Bible says he will inherit the earth. But no, the Beatitude is addressed to a group of people, and it's referring to them. And yeah, just one other verse that has the word they in it is Luke 2, verse 49 through 50. Why were you searching for me, he asked. Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house? But they did not understand what he was saying to them. This is when little boy Jesus was in the temple, and his parents didn't know where he went. All right, the next word is inherit. And the Greek is Strong's 2816. Oh my goodness, what does it say? Clara no mesosin. It's my best attempt. To be an heir, to inherit. In this context, the context of the Beatitude, it's future tense. So will inherit. It's referring to a future time. My study Bible says that the inheritance pledged in Matthew 5:5 reaches its climax in the new heavens and the new earth, where the meek shaped into Christ's likeness will reign with him. Inheritance is basically an entitlement to something in the future. When grandma dies and her children receive an inheritance, that sort of thing. It's usually by blood. And interestingly, the Bible tells us that believers are God's children. So the same sort of relationship that, you have with your grandma. So it follows that there's an inheritance when, if God dies. And, initially I was like, oh, but did God die? And then, of course, yes, Jesus died. Jesus died for us, and he left something far greater than any human could ever earn through their hard work. The inheritance from God is holy, it's heavenly, it's totally beyond our comprehension. It's something we don't have, and we never could have. No person could earn the sort of inheritance that we are to receive from God. So I thought that was kind of cool. And only God's children will receive the inheritance. Just as some rando on the street doesn't receive grandma's inheritance, it's her children who do, her grandchildren. All right, the next word is earth. And the Greek is Strong's 1093, gen, or gain. There's a line over the E. I'm not sure. But anyway, the word means earth, soil, land. And this is starting to bring it together because we have a promise of an inheritance. They have a promise of inheritance. And the inheritance is an actual land. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Yeah, so we're going to inherit the earth. Does it mean all of the earth? Well, like I said, the study Bible passages I've read indicate that this is sort of like the promised land. Earth can just mean land. It can mean soil. That Greek word can mean just soil or land. I have a couple verses, I believe. Yeah, the first one is 2 Peter 3:13. But in keeping with his promise, we are looking forward to a new heaven and a new earth where righteousness dwells. So yeah, that's not the earth we have now. That's a new earth that we'll inherit. Matthew 10:34 says, do not suppose that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. And yeah, that's just another example of this word again. There's so many examples in the Bible. I think there were like 73 in the New Testament uses of this word. It's used quite a lot. Okay, now let's finally go back to meek. We'll take a look at that word because the whole Beatitude rests on it. And the Greek is Strong's 4239, and it's praes. I hope I pronounced it right. It means gentle, mild, and humble. And as I said earlier, this Greek word, which at least the NIV translation translates as meek, it does not mean weak. Meekness in English means timid, maybe unsure of yourself, kind of like a quiet little mouse, maybe shivering in the corner. That's not what the word praes means. In the Fruits of the Spirit series that I did, we had another version of this word, praotes, and that was gentleness, the fruits of the Spirit. Gentleness is one of those fruits. And yeah, this word praise is also translated as gentle in other places in the Bible. There's no perfect English word to describe the concept of meek, praise, but what it means is strength under control. You have a lot of strength, but you control when and how it's used. You don't just fly off the handle like some sort of foolish person. And I have an example of a verse with this in it. 1 Peter 3, verse 3 through 4. Yeah, 1 Peter 3 is talking to wives and advising wives on how they should be. Verses 3 and 4 say, "Your beauty should not come from an outward adornment, such as elaborate hairstyles and the wearing of gold jewelry or fine clothes. Rather, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight." And that gentleness is also, Jesus tells us to be meek. I mean, he's saying so in this beatitude. It doesn't apply to only wives or something, but that's just another example of the word. Matthew 21:5. "Say to daughter Zion, see, your king comes to you gentle and riding on a donkey and on a colt, the foal of a donkey." Again, that Greek word is praise, the same one used in the beatitude. So think of it as gentle, think of it as meek. Neither one of those English words really captures praise. Whatever it is, Jesus is described as that, as praise. Matthew 11:28 through 30 also uses this word. "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So Jesus is meek. He's gentle. In that last verse, praise is even combined with humble in heart. For I am gentle and humble in heart. And those things do kind of go together. It indicates that meekness is about attitude, humble of heart. It's not a lack of strength. It's more just how you present yourself to the world. It's kind of an inner knowledge that you're not above other people, that you're not dominating other people. A humility. And Jesus exhibits this countless times in the Bible, even where the word isn't used. And I'll just give one of those. When Satan was tempting Jesus to use his power, Jesus' meekness gave him control to say no. The fact that he was gentle and humble in heart. He did not feel the need to prove anything to Satan. I'll read Luke 4, verse 9 through 12. "The devil led him to Jerusalem and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. 'If you are the Son of God,' he said, 'throw yourself down from here. For it is written, he will command his angels concerning you to guard you carefully. They will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone.' Jesus answered, 'It is said, do not put the Lord your God to the test.'" So Jesus resisted. Even when one is meek, one can still use their power. However, that exercise of the power is under the authority and direction of God Almighty. This takes a lot of discernment, and if you don't have discernment, you can kind of fall back on some general principles or guidelines, and Jesus gives us those guidelines. The first one I have is Luke 6:29. "If someone slaps you on the one cheek, turn to them the other also. If someone takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt from them." And that definitely subverts expectations at the time, where people sort of had to retaliate for themselves. I don't think they had necessarily the same robust law system that we have now. And, if you're strong, then you stand up for yourself. But Jesus is saying, if you're strong, you get slapped in the face, which doesn't actually hurt you, doesn't cause you injury physically, but it causes pride injury. It injures your pride. He's saying, don't take that back out. Don't try to retaliate. Instead, offer up the other cheek. That is wild. But that's kind of what I'm talking about with meekness. The next one is Matthew 5:41. "If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles." And that's from the same sermon. Matthew 5 sermon. The Beatitudes are first, and then this is a part of the next one. And there was history in the Roman Empire that a soldier could make a Jew to carry their stuff for a mile, all their heavy equipment. And Jesus says, if they force you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. That's amazing. It totally subverts our expectations. In our flesh, we have a tendency to use our power over others to advance our own interests. We want to retaliate against offenses to our honor. That's a huge offense to your honor, to just be dominated by some Roman soldier, and he just says, carry my stuff. We want to punish the wicked. But God has a softer hand. That's how he treats us. we transgress against him, he does have a soft hand. He's long suffering. And ultimately, God has a plan that's beyond our understanding. Like, for example, when Peter cut the ear off the Roman soldier when they came to arrest Christ, Jesus told him to put away his sword. This is in John 18, verse 10 through 11. Then Simon Peter, who had a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's servant, cutting off his right ear. Oh, I think I said it was a Roman soldier. No, it was the high priest's servant. The servant's name was Malchus. Jesus commanded Peter, "Put your sword away. Shall I not drink the cup the Father has given me?" This is a great example because if we retaliate in certain situations, that might go against the will of God. And that's the purpose of meekness, is because God has a plan for the world. And obviously we're free actors within that, and I don't think God's plans can be totally upended because of anything we do. But he would like us to partner with him. And, sometimes he wants us to hold our tongues. Probably most times. He wants us to hold our tongues and not retaliate, particularly when there's some offense to our honor. There's a time and a place for violence. And in the time and place where Jesus was being arrested, God had a much bigger plan. And Peter was threatening to hinder it. In our own lives, we will face situations where we want to retaliate, but it would be better to turn the other cheek and let God handle it in his own way. It takes a lot of discernment to understand this, but fundamentally it requires a meek attitude. And here I have Psalm 4, verse 3 to 4. "But know that the Lord has set apart the godly for himself. The Lord hears when I call to him. Be angry and do not sin. Ponder in your own hearts on your beds and be silent." Selah. Yeah, I like that verse because there is such a thing as righteous anger. It doesn't mean we have to act on that anger, though. We can be angry and not sin. We can ponder in our own hearts and be silent. I think it's a sin to act under the influence of the anger and try to get back at somebody out of anger. We need to be directed by God, not by our own desires. And of course, the other side of the coin here is that I don't think meekness means that we never stand up to evil. Meek does not equal weak. Jesus was meek, and he still brought down God's righteous anger on evildoers when the circumstances warranted it. For example, John 2:15. "So he made a whip out of cords and drove all from the temple courts, both sheep and cattle. He scattered the coins of the money changers and overturned their tables." There's an awesome scene in the series The Chosen where Jesus does this, and it really does subvert our expectations. I said the Beatitudes subvert our expectations, but for Jesus to act this way, it seems weird. It's hard to understand, and maybe it's a language barrier because we don't really have a good word for strength under control. Jesus was being directed by God the Father to do this because there was a grave evil he needed to expose. Another example is the 7 woes sermon. It's a verbal rebuke, and it begins with Matthew 23:13. I won't read the whole thing because there's 7 of the woes, but I'll just read the first one. "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You shut the door of the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. You yourselves do not enter, nor will you let those enter who are trying to." And then verse 33, it's towards the end of this. "You snakes, you brood of vipers, how will you escape being condemned to hell?" That is a very strong rebuke from Jesus. So he's meek, but he stands up to evil. Psalm 2, verse 7 through 9. "I will proclaim the Lord's decree. He said to me, 'You are my son, today I have become your father. Ask me, and I will make the nations your inheritance, the ends of the earth your possession. You will break them with a rod of iron. You will dash them to pieces like pottery.'" So this is referring to Jesus. It's a prophecy that God will give the nations to Jesus, and he will rule them with a rod of iron. And that is something, especially evangelicals, we believe that that's going to happen in the future. Jesus will rule. I mean, it's what the Bible says. So that's why we believe it, because the Bible says so. And he's not going to rule with some golden scepter. He's going to rule with an iron rod of correction. Again, meek does not mean weak. Soldiers and law enforcement encounter situations all the time where God needs them to use force, physical force, to protect others. And harsh words, too. Police have to do all that stuff. They have to get in the muck. This can still be meek, at least this Greek word, price. Soldiers and law enforcement officers can commit acts of violence, even killing people, while acting under the authority of God. The criminal justice system will mete out violence. Death penalty even And it can be aligned with God's will. That's absolutely possible. Romans 13:4 says, "For the one in authority is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They're God's servants, agents of wrath to bring punishment on the wrongdoer." God even instructs parents to discipline their children, including corporal punishment, including, this is, a lot of Christian parents come to the conclusion that spanking is something God wants us to do. Proverbs 13:24 says, "Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them." It takes discernment. There's a time and a place for strong words of rebuke, and even sometimes physical force, but it must be controlled by God, not by our feelings. May God give us discernment to know when to stand up and exert power, and when to turn the other cheek. And especially if you're in a position of authority, you're law enforcement, you're a parent or something, you literally have a duty to raise up the generation of your parent, or to keep order in the communities. Somebody has to do it. So those aren't perfect examples, because I was saying injurious to your pride is something when you turn the other cheek. But yeah, absolutely. When someone insults you, the Christian thing to do is not to retaliate. And then, of course, the passage, "Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth." I think that earth is the new earth. I think the inheritance is the one the Bible talks about, the inheritance that is foretold that God will give to his children. I think that's exactly what this beatitude is talking about. So nothing too deep, but that meek part of it, that's what really needs to be understood. And since the children of God, we know that they inherit the kingdom of heaven, so also children of God should be meek. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing to do that because, again, in my opinion, that's when we partner with God, when we're part of his divine plan for the world. We can act as partners with him. That's all I have on the passage. Next week will be the fourth beatitude from Matthew 5:6. "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled." I'm really enjoying this series. I really enjoyed the part about the inheritance literally being because Jesus died. Because he died, God's children receive an inheritance. I'm enjoying the series, and I hope you are too. Now let's close with the prayer. Lord, thank you so much for this Sermon on the Mount that we have. It's such a blessing to have such a long sermon from Jesus. Pray that you would help us to really take these to heart, these Beatitudes, and just understand that so many of the things in our lives which seem like hardship, that seem like burdens, are actually great blessings. Meekness being one of them. It doesn't feel great to take slander upon ourselves, but Jesus took slander as well. He did not retaliate. He went to the cross when he could have prevented it. He had the power to prevent it, but he went to the cross willingly, endured that suffering. And Lord, I know that believers are also called to endure suffering for your sake. Lord, I pray you would help all of us to have the discernment, to know when to simply take a humiliation, take a blow to our honor, and just react in love, just not retaliate. So Lord, please give us all the strength and discernment in that matter. Lord, we love you. I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Now may the Lord of peace himself give you peace always and in every way. The Lord be with you all. See you next time.